Hello, we're back, BBR episode 99. That is not ice, that is Fred putting away his pogs.
I am putting away pogs. You're jealous.
I'm here with the boys. We got Fred Worm and Dan Worm, and yours truly, Paul Worm. And
I think I just slightly chipped my tooth on a glass cup right now.
Oh
God
no. Slightly?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about when you kind of tap it a little bit and you're like feeling around. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I didn't feel that little crevice before.
I remember one particular time going to a backyard show and like somebody bumping into me and my tooth hit the fucking glass bottle, and that you could that I straight up felt. I'm like, yep, there's a nice chip.
That's gone.
Whatever.
But yeah, actually, I guess when my mom was younger, she said that she chipped her tooth on a slice of bacon, too crispy.
That's some crispy ass bacon.
Yeah.
So I usually ask for my bacon at places. Go crispy bacon.
Really?
I like to have a little bit of chew on it.
Oh hell no. Well, I don't mind chew, but I just don't want fucking gristle on my bacon. It's like you didn't cook it. It's just sloppy fucking fat on it. I don't want that shit.
Yeah, I
Not
think
the gristle, but like I just don't want it to shatter when I bite into it.
That's understood because that's almost burnt. Like chewy, perfectly cooked bacon is gold. It's heaven. My grandmammy, she knows how to make bacon like that.
Grammy's bacon.
Yeah, she usually makes pancakes, but she made like potatoes, and then I'm like, hey, put some onions in there. And it came out good. And I'm like, you gonna make pancakes too? She goes, no, it's too much food. And then we got like a million pieces of toast and bacon. It turned out okay.
Yeah, like, see, Grammy, the hotcakes would have been good, huh?
Calm down, Grammy.
I get no pancakes on potato day, I guess. It's toast only.
Just one pan fried item.
Yeah, she usually makes the pancakes good, and the potatoes, I was surprised, pretty good. But she is terrible at French toast.
That was gonna be my next question. I was like, what's the bad
French
thing?
toast. French toast is the bad thing. She always doesn't have, like you're supposed to use like Texas toast. You're supposed to use the big, thick piece of toast for French toast, but she uses the like thin piece of white bread, and it's like the egg just soaks through, and then it's just like this soggy shit. I just hate soggy shit, unless it's like, what's that shit you eat for breakfast? The
Like
cream
oatmeal?
of wheat. That's fine. Oatmeal, cream of wheat, fine. I'll take that soggy shit.
Yeah, that's soggy by design, right?
Right. But I need, like the way I do it. I'm not a giant egghead. I like a little bit of eggs. What I'll do is like, my mom's pretty good at making French toast. But what I'll do is I'll get the little like barbecue spreader thing, and I'll kind of gently glaze the toast with the bread, with the egg stuff, because I don't want it soaking through. I want it crispy. I like crispy food. I'm like a little kid who needs his like fried food. Like, you eat like a 12-year-old. That's what Dog said. He's like, you're eating like 12-year-old, eating your chicken sandwiches and what, That's what I like. I like crispy, crunchy food. Steak is different. Medium steak is fine. Because if you get medium rare, there's always that chance where it's just like it's a little bit too much.
Varg agrees with you. He likes crispy.
Varg, yeah, his crispy cornflakes.
Do you like cornflakes crispy?
I can't imagine any moron that likes soft cornflakes. It's like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with you?
If you're gonna put milk in your cereal, you're gonna have to deal with it at some point, unless you like really shovel it down.
That's how I eat cereal. I eat it as quick as I can so I can get the like crunchy goodness with the milk, because that's perfect. I'm not gonna eat soggy cereal. I mean, it happens with like frosted flakes, or not frosted flakes, but like corn. What do you call them things? Captain Crunch. There you go.
The thing is, to do it properly, you need two bowls. One bowl for the cereal, one bowl for the milk. You scoop the cereal, you dip it in the milk, and then you take your bite.
That you are wasting dishes. You're wasting precious dishwashing
Might
time.
as well scoop out the bag.
You're a dishwasher, who cares?
Might as well just grab a handful of cereal and then chug some milk, and then there's the cereal right there. You're skipping.
Yeah, you get the mouth
I'm
bowl.
thinking strategically.
I've done that.
If you're sitting there to just have your breakfast, look, there's nothing wrong with having 2 bowls there.
You know what? There isn't anything wrong with it if you really are going to sit there and enjoy yourself, because if you're just eating a regular bowl of cereal like that, you kind of have to be quick about it, or it's going to get too soggy, and then you're going to
Exactly.
and then you're going to waste the cereal and the milk. You know.
If you're to rush off to work, then yeah, whatever, just use 1 bowl. But like if you're having like a lazy Saturday morning watching cartoons, then just like fucking get 2 bowls.
I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it doesn't matter if I make food or if I order out or whatever, I'll kind of just sit. I eat at my desk. I'm at home at my desk, and I'll just be watching TV, and I'll just kind of sit there for a little bit. After I'm done, I'll be like sitting there for like 20 minutes. I don't get up for like 20 minutes. I just let the food sit on the desk. I'm like,
Yeah, it's part
breathe
of the
it all
meal.
in. Yeah, the relaxing part, and then I'll go look for some dessert and some coffee. That's a white person thing. Dessert and coffee after dinner.
It's got a yerba mate right now.
I barely know what that is. It's something yellow. It's in a yellow can.
Yeah, not the ones that Julian used to drink where it was like hot and out of a gourd with the weird ass straw.
Yeah, Anthony used to drink that crap too. That was in. That's like for health nuts. I don't know.
Yeah, it has a good amount of caffeine in it. It's just you're not gonna be up all night, but it'll get you through the moment.
There is something about the health drinks that makes you feel you're like, I'm doing something right. Therefore, I feel good in my mind.
I can have a bad drink later.
Yeah, like I'll drink kombucha.
Those are good.
Oh no.
Kombucha's good. It tastes like vinegar soda.
Yeah, it does.
It does taste like vinegar, and you know what?
good.
I don't drink vinegar. Why the hell would I drink kombucha?
I'll drink vinegar.
Ugh.
Vinaigrette.
You know,
Yeah, I need vinegar
I did
pop.
that to a friend of mine once. He asked for a glass of water, and like we had, I don't know what possessed me. I was like 13 or something, and I pulled out the bottle of vinegar, white vinegar, and he just assumed it was water as I poured it, and he just took a big swig of it and
Oh man,
spat it out. Yeah,
evil Fred back to his roots.
yeah, that's the origins.
Damn. I'll say this up front. Since we're at the 99th episode, I think we should make a post, and if people aren't, if they listen to this first before seeing the post, here it is too. But
Well,
what?
I was gonna say, I think by the time this episode comes out, we'll have already done episode
that's
100.
true.
That's true.
Yeah,
Well,
see, it doesn't work that way.
Well, then
Damn it,
I'll
Paul.
just tell you.
This is just us planning right now. you know?
Yeah.
It'll already have happened by the time this comes out.
Yeah, let's do like a YouTube and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about Instagram. Probably YouTube
Yeah.
probably be the best
What, for like posting
for questions and stuff.
questions? Yeah.
Throwing out for
Because you know
questions.
how like Jub says like, oh, I'm gonna be streaming on the other podcasts like in a
Yeah,
post.
what we'll do is I'll do a YouTube community post.
Yeah.
I'll do an Instagram post and story during the week. And then what I'll need you guys to do is, Paul, you go to Terminus and you do a post. And then
Okay.
Fred does a post on Black Death sometime during the week.
and we'll get like 10 questions and we'll be good.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get like 3. Maybe we'll get like 2 or 3 or 4. Whatever we get. We might get none. Who the fuck knows? I don't know how these things work.
I
Yeah.
know we'll get some.
But
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah,
I think we did it. It's at some point in the past asked for questions, or at least I did. And
Yeah,
I got
we did do
3 or
that. That episode was
Yeah.
lost. That was a great episode.
I think I got 3 or 4 or something. So yeah, that was a great episode.
and you'll never know.
Paul.
You'll never know. This is just a tribute.
I do remember the black metal guy. As soon as we announced, Paul's like, something fucked up just happened. He goes, "Oh, Paul."
No, he's like you've been saving regularly, right? I'm like, no. Oh, Paul.
No.
Now I'm a save nut. I just save all the time.
As
Save
you
the
should.
nuts.
Save.
This is all gold that needs to be documented.
Yeah, it's true.
Fred, when you brought up the thing about the Pogs, I was gonna ask you, do you have like a collection of just old toys and shit?
I mean, I have some of my old toys. I never really was into the Pogs. I just kind of wound up with a bunch.
The Pogs!
The Pogs.
The eggs! I like the eggs!
They used to like just give them away with like Happy Meals and shit, so I just wound up with a bunch of them. I have some of my old toys from when I was a kid. I've sold a bunch of them not too long ago, but I used to have like Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles, stuff like that.
Oop.
Is it death metal?
Death metal during the show, huh? And how inappropriate on a metal podcast that you play in the middle of Fred talking about his toys.
I was gonna bring this up after, but go ahead, Fred.
Well, no, now I'm curious.
Well, we got our first question, and it was from Matt. He said, "You think Skinless is overrated or not?"
Who the hell's Matt? Bubba?
Yeah.
So we're doing an early Q&A for Bubba's question.
Yeah, he just asked me earlier, so he's like, "Oh, you think Skinless is overrated or not?"
No, I would say no because their first album is really good, but everything after that I didn't listen to, or at least I forgot about, and I don't care, and I never will ever go back to it because I don't care.
I wouldn't say they're overrated. I would just say they're not for me.
At all? You don't even like that first album?
I don't dislike it, but I wouldn't go out of my way for it either.
I like the first two albums. Those are really good, but they're also, early listens for me too.
I don't think.
This second one, I'm looking at some of the fucking. I'm looking at some of these reviews. The second one's got nothing but bad reviews.
Yeah, I think it had a bit of a departure from the first album.
As in, it departed from being good?
Maybe. I don't remember. I know I've heard that. That was like something I heard a long ass time ago, like when I was a kid. But the first album I come back to sometimes, like when I'm in a brutal death metal gore grind mood, I'll come back to it.
I haven't heard them, but the last couple albums had really good album artwork.
Let's check out Savagery.
Savagery I half like and half don't like. Maybe you'll understand why.
Yeah, it's probably a baby skull.
No. There's a skull, but there's no baby.
I just think their first, that's probably my favorite art.
Yeah, the first album art is great. It's the guys like dead hanging, or like two of the guys hanging two of the other guys. Yeah, that's great. That looks terrific.
Obituary did it first.
Yeah, but the way this picture looks, it looks like very stylistic. It's not just a band photo. This one looks like it took a little bit of a photo brushing or something. It has some panache to it. I love even the logo and like the album title font looks really cool.
Yeah, and I told them, I was like, yeah, I like the first two albums, but I think they are like on a right kind of where they ought to be, where they're kind of like a B tier band. Like you get into like the big four of BDM, and then these guys are like right underneath it,
Yeah, but maybe they are a bit overrated because they're still around and they're like they're kind of all over the place for forever. They've been all over fucking like fest lineups and things. They sort of never. I mean, good for them. That's cool, but I don't know that their music like holds up because I don't know anybody that actually gives a shit besides the first album.
Yeah, and
so maybe a little bit overrated.
Got some insight from the younglings too. They actually were talking about this this past weekend.
Julian and Marcus?
Yeah, they're saying
and Porco?
They're saying that Skinless is like Mortician level, like girlfriend metal. I guess like with the later albums and shit.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I feel like that probably was more true back in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, because they even, because I know people will like post Trample the Weak, Hurdle the Dead a lot, but I don't really see anything like the third album. I don't hear anyone talk about that, or the second album gets like shit on, and then the first one's just like untouchable, I think.
Yeah, Yeah, first one's great. That had tampon lollipops. That was, that sample was terrific.
Yeah.
Where he's like, this chick had no legs. It's like, he knew my dream was to fuck a chick with no legs. It's like she was spinning on my dick like a record player or something like that.
The merry-go-round.
Yeah, some shit like that.
I like the Merry Melody song from the second album. I think it just has like fucking Looney Tune lyrics. It's pretty funny.
Yes, something about Looney Tunes and death metal goes together. I mean, you would see like Repulsion. The main guy used to wear like a Wile E. Coyote T-shirt. You'll see in like some pictures.
Yeah, both very loony, death metal and that cartoon.
Yeah. I mean, dude, yeah, brutal death metal is extremely loony. It's that's all you could really say, I suppose.
It is a loony genre.
It's so weird. I feel like death metal. It's how could you possibly take yourself seriously as a like playing that kind of music and like writing those kind of lyrics? It's so strange. I mean, compared to black metal, it's like those guys take themselves very like much more seriously.
Except for what we were talking about last time, where you said it's like being meme oriented now.
Yeah, I suppose there's two sides to it.
Yeah.
Like there's this. I remember a long time ago, Fred said something about like we were like getting into the politics of black metal or something, and he said something like, "If you're too far on either side, you're annoying." And I suppose I would agree with that. I just came across some kid today. I don't even remember what his account was. It's like some anti-commie black metal guy, and he looks like he just, I hate to say this word to be derogatory, but he looks like a neckbeard, like what you would expect.
Yeah.
And it's nothing but like this like National Socialist LARP, which is, fine if you're going to talk about that stuff, and fine if like you like that stuff. But if that's it, is that it? This is all you like, and all your posts are like these stupid what would you even call it? Like these stupid like what would even the word be? Fucking like statements. These like dumb statements. Like you're telling people how to what they should be. For like example, he's talking about Eisen's group and he posted something. He's like, "Too bad he's a Christian now." It's like, do you not have stuff going on? You're just sitting around like caring about what bands say and think, and
they're not in it for the music. They're in it for the messaging. Like it's
but the messaging is retarded. I don't even mean that not bass. I don't mean it like that. I mean like you're into black metal, dude. You're not like you are not helping the United States become a national socialist state. You're just some guy who's like dumb and not funny.
Yeah, that's like.
It's like even if I agree with you on some things, you're not funny.
Yeah.
Or just dumb.
Then there's that band Juke Guide that like posts a release like every month and then like gives the Bandcamp money over to like the Free Arms like what's it called? I guess like foundation.
Well, yeah, I mean it is the same thing with the other side too. It's like the other side who are sort of warning you about bands like watch out for this band. Uh-oh, naughty band. It's like, again, do you not have anything going? You have so little going on that that this is what you do. I don't know. It's a strange mindset. I can't even fathom. But I see it. I see it on Instagram, and again, this makes me just want to stay off the internet. I kind of don't want to see this garbage anymore.
True that.
From either of them. Oh, you know what else I keep seeing that is very not funny? I think this is all, again, this kind of applies to both left and right wing poster guys. You guys might have seen this. It's like JD Vance memes. Have you guys seen this?
I posted one of those.
Yeah, I think you might have posted one of those where they just like distort his face and put it on stuff.
So I don't know what that meme is about. I kind of guessed where it originated from because it kind of looks like he's bloating, but whatever.
He has a funny face.
Yeah. So the one that I posted, because I legit laughed at this one, it was his face in one of those, those Stalag albums, Project Terror and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just his face on one of those instead of the face that you usually have in the middle. And I legit laughed out loud when I saw that, so I shared that because it was stupid.
Yeah, see, we do have a little bit disagreement on the show. I didn't even get to my point. My point was, those are not funny. The JD Vance face, I don't like it. I don't think it's funny. I see everybody posting this crap. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a big party.
I don't think I find them funny in general because I've seen a bunch. I'm like, all right, that's a meme, but
yeah,
putting his face over Stalag was funny.
Yeah, see, now I'll be accused of old man yelling at cloud. That's what they say.
Come on, that's my job.
There was something else.
Oh my god, am I the hip one?
Yeah, you're hip. You're hip, and then you shove your face in cereal, start eating like Timmy's dad. I'm hip
with 2 bowls.
It's like, you want to try some Timmy-O's? He goes, those are for pack mules. Oh, there was another. What's his name? Bobby. Bobby from Pentagram has gone viral now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, you didn't see that, Fred?
No.
He just kind of looks like a crackhead on stage, and he's like staring into the crowd, and that. I guess that's a thing now. People are now. That's so weird how things like that happen. It's like all of a sudden Pentagram is popular.
Yeah, I know. I think I've seen that actually. It's the one where the hair's flying into all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you're never too old to go viral. Bobby. Yeah, Bobby's. It's just happening right now.
That's
I don't necessarily have any feelings about it. I personally don't think it's that funny, just because Bobby was funny forever. Bobby's always been funny.
Yeah, I mean, documentary and all that.
Yeah, that documentary was hilarious.
I know Pentagram obviously, but I've never spent any real time with them. It's just not my style, right? But I didn't know that was him. I thought it looked like Peter Hobbs from Hobbs Angel of Death.
He does kind of look like Hobbs. He's got the same mustache.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Bobby's more fucked up on drugs, or at least he used to be.
I don't know how much.
I think he
Peter
looked.
Hobbs got into.
He looked more fucked up back like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, because
he looks better than he did 20 years ago.
Yeah, his hair all white. He looks more himself than he did before.
Before he just looked like he still kind of looks like a skeleton, but before it was like way worse. And I think he was straight up just on. I think he was doing a bunch of crack. I think is what it was.
Yeah.
He was like living in his parents' basement on crack. The sub basement. He was below the basement.
Man, I want to listen to Hobbs Angel of Death. Goddamn great band.
Yeah, that's good. I always compare them to like Bulldozer.
Yeah.
Who, Hobbs?
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever talked about Hobbs before.
I bought the CD of the first album and the demo compilation from a guy, and that guy had ordered them straight from the band, and when I got them, both of them were signed on the cover by Peter Hobbs. That was pretty cool.
That's like,
I don't think I've ever posted those, have I? I have no idea.
I know what you're gonna do tomorrow.
That'd be a cool Postmate, wouldn't
it? I might have to send a couple of the early Pentagram tracks to the group chat just so Fred can get a feel for it.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I know I've listened to some, but like I've never spent a ton of time with them. Like you know me.
I used to spend a lot of time with Pentagram.
Yeah, that was like the what's it called? Not Cochise, Tribal Chief band.
Yeah, well, at that time during Tribal Chief, that's like all we were interested in was not just 70s bands, but just kind of the, I guess, doom atmosphere in general. Yeah. Or like even hippie atmosphere, because we were still listening to a bunch of prog rock at the time, too. Like Lothar and the Hand People. I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to bring up Lothar and the Hand People. That's an interesting band, though.
Just looking up Hobbs Angel of Death on Instagram, found an account, a tribute to Hobbs Angel of Death. 0 posts, 2 followers, 1 following. Good stuff.
Keeping them underground, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of these old bands who are like now on social media don't seem to know how to run them, and they just
it's a tribute.
They go unnoticed.
just some guy who made this, but never actually followed up with it.
Yeah, like same
But,
thing with Wicked Innocence. Like,
Beelzebub too.
yeah, they like Wicked Innocence. They made a post, I guess, when they're like getting back in the zeitgeist, and then after that, they just kind of like disappeared. I'm like, hey, you guys got any merch? And then my message has been unread for like a year.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on messages back from certain bands like 15 years in the future.
Yeah.
This shit just happens.
Do you guys ever listen to the later Hobbs stuff before I passed away? Because I never actually...
Hell no.
I don't think I've heard anything past like the second album.
Hell no. I stopped listening to thrash bands after 1 or 2 albums. And it looks like Hobbs...
What do you
yeah,
call?
I only knew the first Hobbs album. Didn't...
Yeah, I only ever listened to the first one.
Yeah, same.
I
And
like
that wasn't
this-
even a band that was like huge for me. It was just kind of a band who was like in the thrash cycle of like checking stuff out, I guess. But they're a name I
really
remember
like them.
because a few friends of mine were like kind of big into them.
Yeah, I actually really like them. Well, again, the first album and demo comp that I have, but I think it's pretty fucking good.
There was that other Australian band I used to listen to somewhat regularly,
Slaughterlord?
but like no, I love Slaughterlord, but not them. I was thinking of
Mortal Sin.
Sin, who I never come back to anymore.
No, they didn't really do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I remember liking their second album a bit, but for whatever reason, it kind of doesn't hold up for me anymore. I just don't care.
Mm.
And I think that had some members of Slaughterlord in it, maybe.
I believe so, yeah. I think
Yeah,
Steve-
it had Steve and it had Mike.
Yeah.
Man,
or
Dan,
Mick.
Dan not liking thrash.
I like thrash. And like I said, it's just some of this stuff. Some of it doesn't hold up. I mean, it's the same for like any genre, really. But when it comes to thrash, it's so stripped down that when thrash is boring, it's like more boring than the other genres are. You know what I mean? Because it's so. It's weird. It's like it's taking some of the coolest parts out of heavy metal sometimes, and then like kind of keeping itself separate from black or death or like power metal, and it's just like this pure thrash thing. I feel like if something's pure thrash, it better be something special, or it's gonna just fall flat. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think with that, it's like
I think Mortal Sin falls into that.
mainly most of like the older thrash bands are like what catch my attention. Like pre 90s or like really early 90s, because then that's when death metal and black metal come into the picture, and it's like, all right, you're just stuck in this limbo state between being I guess like heavy metal and then really extreme metal. It's just like aggressive, like just like riffs, and it's like
Yeah,
can't
well, I
really
mean-
do anything with that.
Yeah, well, you had certain bands that like towed that line in between the two. Say like I'm sure I've talked about Gamma Side from Texas on here before, but
Yeah.
they kind of toe the line between like thrash and just extreme metal in general. They'll do like blast beats and like get really fucking weird. And what is that, 89? So yeah, I guess that makes sense for that exact year. It's like thrash is kind of just getting extreme and then going away. I think this band just kind of went away after an album. Yeah, they did. Say. But I think Jubb was talking about something sort of similar on that Inquisition episode, where he mentions the dude from Hollow's Eve, who weirdly enough we've been kind of talking about a little bit lately. Yeah, their guitar player went on to do like straight up black metal stuff. I forget exactly what the band was that he was doing.
From
Hallows.
from Mortal Sin?
No, from Hollow's Eve. The guitar player from Hollow's Eve.
Oh.
What is his name? Skullator. Steve Skullator Shoemaker. It's a mouthful. Yeah, he was on the 1985 Hollow's Eve album. And then he was in a band called Wormreich, 2015. And then... Oh, he was in Aurora Borealis. He was doing guitar and vocals.
Yeah.
Nice.
I forget, wasn't Aurora Borealis some
It's
other
like
band?
Ice.
Oh, it's Ice. Yeah, it's Imperial Crystalline Entombment. Yeah, see, these are like... I like that idea, too, of like guys from the early 80s, like when thrash was just kind of getting its start, and then just kind of going into more extreme stuff and like not really stopping. I think like Hex did that too, where they start off as like relatively streamlined, heavy power metal, and then by that like third EP in '89 or '88, they're like extreme tech death thrash or something.
Yeah.
I was reading about Wormreich a couple days ago because I was listening to Bloodstained Dusk, and a couple guys from that band were in Wormreich.
Who is Bloodstained Dusk? I think I recently came across them too.
They started like late '90s in the U.S. and like total Emperor worship, especially the first two albums, or first EP and first album. Pretty damn good though. Dirge of Death Silence is an excellent album. Absolutely fantastic.
Album cover looks kind of cool.
You know what? I will tell you this about the album cover. The guys superimposed onto it. The one on the left, he's got the dumbest corpse paint I've ever seen, man.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. And of course, this is in my liked videos. I've come across this before.
But of course.
Well, damn. Sometimes black metal just like it whizzes by me and I forget about it.
The first EP, Legion's Reign Over Christendom, is pretty cool too, but 3 of those 5 songs are on the album anyways, so it's not surprising that it's good too. I don't think I ever checked out the next couple albums though, or if I did, it was a long time ago.
And I was seeing, old lady drivers on Spotify. It says that they uploaded a new release, but it ended up just being like some smooth jazz. Like that was just under the wrong name.
Oh, it's not the same old lady drivers?
No, it's like, yeah. And it has like this terrible like AI art that's like, it almost looks like, let me just take a picture of it. It looks like, I don't know.
It's not Formula, is it?
No, it's called Dead Halo. But let me show you the art really quick. It's pretty bad. Definitely AI. Let's see. Alright, uploaded it.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's like a horse. It almost looks like some sort of like cake frosting.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't look totally horrible, but I think the fact that you can see that something is AI makes it kind of just look cheap and dumb.
But like people do this all the time where they'll like upload shit under the same name and they'll just get like onto these other bands, and it's like
yeah.
It's like it's weird, like you can't separate it.
Since you brought up old, have you ever heard their final release in '95? Formula. It's not really even death metal. It's like shit. It's almost like electronic or something. It's like that Beyond Dawn release. You know, that electronic one.
Yeah.
That one's really effing good, man. But yeah, old Formula. I remember liking this a bit. I think I have to come back to this.
Yeah, I've only listened to their first 2 albums. I don't even know about the third one either.
Yeah, I don't remember the third one. That the musical dimension of the Slee Stack or whatever.
Yeah, they went impact font with the logo. It's funny.
Yeah. Well, their artwork on that one looks like the fucking the Nuclear Death artwork.
Yeah. Said Madman's art.
Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, the past few days I've been listening to like sort of weird like speed metal stuff that maybe Fred would know. Do you know a band called Scarecrow from Poland?
I don't think so, actually.
It was obscure, but Nuclear War Now fucking reissued it, and that's why I think people know about it.
Let's have a look.
Scarecrow from Poland. The demo is called Dio Optimo Maximo from '89. That's pretty.
Oh, I've seen this. I couldn't tell you if I've heard it, but I've seen it.
It's cool. It almost reminds me of that weird Uruguay band Grafspy like wild speed metal that's like death metal. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's
I
speed
do
metal
love
that is
some
so
grass
unhinged
speed,
that
so-
it just becomes death metal by proxy.
Wow, there's a Polish band called Lord Vader.
Oh, that's cool. I also come across that some band we've talked about on the show before, like early on. I think they're Polish too. Or no, they're from Czech Republic. Vacuum. I posted that earlier. If you guys saw the album cover with the fucking waterfall coming over the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like cool. It's like Death Doom, but then they also have like Septic Flesh kind of pickup parts. So it's actually a pretty cool one.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Mm-hmm. And then I also ended up listening to this heavy metal band from '83 called Biscaya, Biscaya. I think they only had one album. It's kind of like I don't know. It's like it's like speed metal, but they also have parts like Styx and Meatloaf and shit like that. It's like stadium rock mixed with speed metal from '83. It's kind of interesting, and the album art's cool. It's got some like Conan dude riding a lizard across the ocean.
Huh.
I think they only have one album. Progressive rock. Christian's calling me. Leave me alone.
Go away.
I already saw that dude. Saul still not on his phone.
What's they have a show
been listening
every
to-
Monday or what?
I've been listening to the Dutch band Bifrost, who I think
Is
are
that
pretty
the
fucking
same fucking what do you call it? The dudes on Barbarian Wrath?
good. Nazgul Zairi, but yes.
Sorry.
Eventually they were
Sorry.
on Hammerheart, but yeah, that one.
See the Dutch one. Yeah, okay. I remember the logo. I remember this band. Somebody was talking about this recently. I forget who. I think I ceased to listen to this stuff like in depth. I think I might have to now. Each time we talk about it, I get a step closer to actually listening to it.
I actually really like them. The I think the vocals might take a bit of
Re-like.
getting used to, for me anyways, but Pagan Reality is awesome. Great album. So's Wild as
The
Fire.
Wild is Fire.
I'm not super familiar with the third album, but the first two are fantastic.
Yeah, The Wildest Fire is the second one.
Yeah. Children of the Black Hill and Bird of Prey. Just fucking great album or songs.
I was gonna say when you brought up your Pog thing, like, man, I really wish that I had kept all my shit. But then again, it's like, how you gonna hold on to all this shit? Then are you just a hoarder at that point? Because I had so much all my video games. I should have kept my PlayStation and my original 64 and I get Game Boy with all the damn. I had everything. I had everything in the palm of my hands, and I let it slip away.
Those I have, and I still buy when I go to, like, every once in a while, they come across a garage sale and they're selling a bunch of like old video game stuff, and they have no idea what they have. At this point, I've got, so like growing up, I had an SNES, an N64, an NES.
What about a
and so
Game Boy?
forth. Yep. At this point in my life, I have 3 NESs, 3 SNESs, 2 N64s, and like probably like 200 games between. No, more than that. 250 games between all 3 systems.
Nah, Fred, you don't need all that stuff. Give it to me and Dan.
I think I'm just telling myself that I wish I had all my stuff back, but it's like if I actually had it, I wouldn't play it.
Oh no,
Just
I
be
actually
sitting around
actually
looking
do,
cool.
I do actually play these, so there's it's
Well, still.
I've got a little setup here. But
See, when I was a lad, I had Kirby's Dream Land, the original one. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
I think I was like always kind of a little bit behind everyone else. Like I didn't have the newest shit, and I would buy games off eBay just because like my dad knew how to use eBay. So I'm like, I would look up eBay games and like buy that.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a good way to get things.
Yeah, I think everybody's like had a mom or an aunt that knew how to play Super Mario Land. I did have an aunt that could like beat it. The original Super Mario Land.
Moms are cool.
I never had an NES when it came out, but I did get a Super Nintendo as when that was still fairly new, and I liked the classics, obviously, for like Super Mario World, blah blah blah. But for me, the role-playing games on that system are where it's at, like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 3, Secret of Mana, Secret of Evermore. Oh my God, they're to die for.
I always really wanted to. I have Secret of Mana for the fucking Super Nintendo. Never played it, or I played it for like a minute, but I don't know. It's hard for me to concentrate. I need some time. I need time to think. But I always love the idea of like Final Fantasy, da 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 da. But I'm never able to actually sit down and do it. Like Paper Mario was the RPG that I can do. Or some of the other Mario, like Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga or whatever. And then for whatever reason, I can play some Zelda games. I can do that. Even though I need the cheat code though. I need to be on the website when I get stuck.
Oh yeah.
You need it.
No.
Sometimes you can't figure out those puzzles.
I mean, obviously it. These games impacted me enough that I made you guys listen to the 3-hour-long Chrono Trigger soundtrack. So.
True dat.
But it's such a good game. Such a good soundtrack.
Yeah. Well, Paul, you got a question, and I got an email from a guy. This is going to be a long one. Should we get into this next section here? I don't want to wait till.
No,
this isn't a question. This is just a statement. Yeah. So this guy named Gore Smoker, he sends me an email. He says, "Hi Dan, hi Paul, hi Fred. Thanks gents for the weekly pod. I never miss it. Big metal fan, also a winemaker, and it's vintage time in South Australia.
Ooh, send us some.
I have earbud time aplenty since I'm washing tanks and forklifting barrels and harvesting grapes. The reason for my email, I'm not on your Discord. Well, we don't have one. And I think he means the Terminus Discord. And I don't know if the black metal guy ever briefed you on Stench, but I'm listening to some random BBR episode you did years ago. True, we did this years ago. I came across the Meat Man episode and felt compelled to write as an old punk appreciator. As you discussed in the Grotesque Infection episode, a lengthy email comes your way. He says, my recommendation to anyone checking out the story of Stench, bear with me, following all the dreadlocks. In other words, for it to be Stench, it must be born of anarcho-punk. Grindcore, for example, was an English hardcore term emerged from the Stenchcore, crustcore. Even the term Britcore was used by commercial press at the time. The term crust stench became interchangeable by the 1980s. As I'm sure you know, war and privatization and Thatcherism has decimated the British working class of the UK in the 70s and 80s. Unemployment was widespread. Squats and doles were a reality for many. And one form of reactionary art was anarcho-punk. Then he goes into more crap. He says, The Exploited, Punk's Not Dead, 1981. He says, Discharge, Hear Nothing, 1982. Hellhammer, Triumph of Death, Switzerland, 1983. He says, Hellhammer took the 1982 Discharge recording and blended it with Venom to invent the first wave of black metal. Cool point. That is a cool idea for that early. Good job, Hellhammer. You get a thumbs up. Rudimentary Peni, Death Church, 1983. Stenchcore begins here, if you ask me. They grabbed the torch of Crass and made it more metal. And the Stench kids cut off the dreadlocks and shaved their heads in rebellion. Okay. Celtic Frost, Morbid Tales, 84. Part 2 on their merry way, bringing anarcho-punk and traditional heavy metal together. Fenriz would later adapt the sound for Blaze in the Northern Sky. True. Amoebics, Arise, 1985. Although their music is overrated in my opinion, they were influential and squatted with the stenchies of them and dreaded their hair, so they fit the bill for the time, brah. He wrote that. Yeah, Amoebics. I feel like that's one that I miss a lot. Because I know Black Josh likes that band. Yeah. And I know a lot, that's like important, but I kind of, I'm always hit and miss with them. Or at least I never give them too much of a chance. I'd like to. Hell Bastard, Ripper Crust, 1986. I don't know why that sounds so familiar.
That's good.
Napalm Death, Enslavement Demo, 1986. These long-haired kids and tees from the Midlands looked more like American than UK crust. They remodeled crustcore and doubled its speed and called it grindcore. Antisemics, Criminal Trap, 1986, Sweden. Crust gets Sweded. Before the Swedish death metal was invented, the anarcho-punk D-beat scene grew a mohawk and headed towards grindcore territory before pulling out and taking a dump on the metal stage. Deviated Instinct, Welcome to the Orgy, 1987. By now, crustcore had grown even more impressive dreads, and DI invented the term stenchcore as a gimmick. Musically, they took the pounding crust sound and made it more perverse with heavy metal riffs. Napalm Death Scum, 1987. Stenchcore, crustcore makes a jump to lightspeed. Grindcore shoots off here. Carcass, Flesh Ripping Sonic Torment, 87. Dreadlock, Liverpool Crust, featuring hyperblast, guttural vocals, and weird pathology themes. It is impressive for 87, I will say. That's kind of crazy. What's his name? Fucking Chevy Chase. This is crazy. Bolt Thrower in Battle There Is No Law. Blah blah blah. Almost done. Doom, War Crimes, 1988. Unflappable Employment, Thrash Metal UK, Traditional Heavy Metal. Is Doom really that heavy metal? I remember them being kind of just D-beatish. I used to like Doom. I haven't come back to them in a long time. Axe Grinder, Rise of the Serpent Men. That's a cool title. 1988. Jeff Walker designs the sleeve art, and the band are signed to Peaceville. Extreme Noise Terror, Holocaust in Your Head, 1989. I used to like these guys too. Supergroup featuring members of Doom and Napalm Death who rejected the term grindcore and added some of the filth of anti-Semics, but without the dreadlocks. So he concludes here. He says, so there you have it. The timeline makes sequential sense to me. It would be sick to listen to yours and Paul's musical analysis on some of these recordings one day. And there's even some parallel of American rock, hardcore, thrashcore, power violence, grindcore, but that's a story for another time. Sia's P.S. My fave of all-time British stench crust is Skaven Split with Dystopia, 1996. That is a good one. I know the black metal guy agrees with me because he played the song Plague Wind on a Terminus episode. Never did stench worship sound so filthy and authentic. Well worth a listen. Cheers, boys.
Thanks, Gore Smoker.
Cool.
Yeah, Gore Smoker. Thank you, Gore Smoker in South Australia. Yeah, maybe you could send us some wine, and we'll trade you some stuff.
We'll trade you thoughts. But I guess that brings up the next point too, and then we'll get back to that statement or email and
something he wanted us to check out.
Yeah, I think if you guys, the listeners, are we have this cycle of Paul pick, Dan pick, Fred pick, guest pick.
We're running out of guests.
Yeah, if you guys want, especially with Clean Feed. Well, I got some other guests I would like, but to intersperse the sort of picks and stuff, you guys should submit like this guy did. Like an album
some
or something
stuff to possibly come up, or some stuff to
chat about.
We'll do fan picks instead of guest picks. We'll do listener picks.
There you go. Yeah, so we can. Have that fourth pick, something you guys want us to talk about, and just reach out in the email or Instagram, or I think the YouTube comments will kind of get a little hectic, but do a little bit more.
Even if they are in the YouTube comments, right? Yeah, honestly, even if they are in the YouTube comments, I can always go back and look, and they'll be there. Yeah. Like I still remember somebody said cover Impetigo and Macabre. So that might be the first one, because you're like the first. Whoever said that was like the first guy to fucking mention it.
Yeah, so, just so we can have.
I think there might be a few others in the comments. Like we might just get to those first. But yeah, send in your requests, and maybe we'll vote on it or something.
Yeah, as long as we have like a queue and we're like all down to do it, then it should be, the fan picks.
Yeah, because it's honestly getting a little chaotic with like guest picks, because like. It's always like kind of short notice to be like, new guests each month, and then they don't show up, and then you got to ask a million more people, and it's like, break time.
Yeah, and I think it'll help out with the, prolonging the Clean Feed eventual subscription.
Yeah, we're either gonna have to. Yeah, Fred missed this conversation that we had, but Clean Feed has updated their shit, and now only 3 people, as opposed to 4, are allowed on the free version of it.
No, I was there for that.
Yeah, I think I told you guys about it.
Or at least we've chatted about it a few times, yeah.
Right. Well, so in this month, we'll figure out what to do. See if there's either another free one somewhere out there, or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll have a month until we have a 4th person on again.
Yeah. So
at the very least.
Yeah, so send those in.
A month or two, actually.
Email, preferably Instagram, at the Bunsen Burner Recordings account.
Yeah.
And then we'll make a queue and, attack it from there. But, yeah, just wanted to get that out there. Changing things up a bit, I guess, after the 100th episode. So,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
It'll give us more things to listen to and, more people will hear what they want to hear.
Yeah, you babies will get your bottles. You babies will get your binkies back. Do not worry.
Yeah, I was going to say they'll not back, but they'll get their binkies.
Don't worry, baby birds.
back.
We will vomit into your mouths.
Yeah, exactly. Induce vomiting.
But yeah. So yeah, I know a lot of those like seminal releases for the like Stench core stuff. So I'll revisit that because I guess it was years ago that we talked about that. Doesn't feel like it.
It is cool stuff. I mean, say what you will about punks and punk rock and all this stuff, but the old stuff, like incorporating just metal into their shit, makes it great and kind of moves things forward. Obviously, so it is cool. We're not punk haters. I like some of the stuff actually.
Yeah. And I think I guess the next topic is what you did this weekend, Dan. Or let's go with Fred. It's probably short.
Don't be rude. Do not be rude to the Canadian ever.
Way to assume that my life is boring.
Yeah, don't be an ass and assume him.
I thought you liked it like that.
That doesn't mean it always turns out that way.
And it doesn't mean you have to say it out loud, fucker.
Yeah.
I'll cut it out.
You'll cut. You little brat.
All right, Fred, tell me about that Wild Pack weekend.
I'm going to call the Oompa Loompas on you, dude.
Or week.
You're going to sing a song.
I'll give you a week.
Didn't do a whole lot. I did buy tickets to the Mayhem Mortis show, though, for the at the end of April.
Yeah.
No, not April. End of March. It's in like 2 weeks.
That's cool.
Yeah. I've seen both before, but they were both quite a bit of fun, so...
See him again.
Yeah, exactly. So... Although, Imperial Triumphant, is that the band? Are opening. I don't know much about them. They've always seemed kind of dorky.
They are the newest incarnation of hipster black metal, I think.
Yeah, I thought I saw, like, the comments. I didn't watch the full J-Dog video, but people in the comments were like, yo, fuck Imperial Triumph.
Yeah, they're like the newest. They're kind of like the Death Heaven of the now.
Oh no, it doesn't sound good. Let's see.
Yeah.
Avant-garde technical black death metal. The fuck is this? Art Deco black metal?
It might be like, I think it might sound a bit like Liturgy did, maybe. Because I know I've heard that band in passing before. I checked them out because they were just kind of there. But that was like years ago.
All right, so what you're saying
I guess
is I can get there late.
Yep.
Well, check them out. I mean, sometimes it's fun to frown when you're watching a band.
I usually frown all day.
Frownman.
Yeah, the album cover to Alphaville is actually pretty cool. It looks a lot. It's very Metropolis.
Alphaville. That was the band that sung "Forever Young."
Well, I meant Alphaville by Imperial Triumphant, but
Oh. Alphaville also had that song "Big in Japan." Big in Japan tonight. The Eastern Sea so blue.
yeah, I'll
Where
give these guys
is
a listen.
Imperial
but I'm not
Triumphant? There's a million bands with the
optimistic
Imperial thing.
based on what
Oh,
I'm
there
seeing
they
and reading.
Yeah, they have Eyes Wide Shut masks.
Yeah, I see that.
Let's see, who are these people? Alphaville from 2020. Yeah, I remember when this was. I think this is the album that got them popular. Was this like Metropolis looking album art?
It's cool. I like the art.
It's not too bad.
Don't know if I'm necessarily gonna.
None of their. Well, I'm looking at the newest one from this year, Gold Star. That honestly doesn't look that bad either. But I feel like this would work better as like a funky, like a jazz fusion band,
Yes.
not black metal, jazz fusion. But maybe
looks very
it's
jazz.
good, dude. I mean, it's on Century Media. That's kind of telling you, no, it's not good. But at the same time, this album cover looks terrible. Spirit of Ecstasy. What is this? Libby from Jimmy Neutron. Give me a break. Oh, my spine. Yeah, I don't know that I'll give this band a chance just because there may be, I don't know, maybe is there anything worth listening to? Maybe of the
I'm
modern
gonna give them a
age.
chance because I might be seeing them, so might as well.
Yeah.
But I'm skeptical.
Yeah, see him and give a frowny face.
Like it's like Death Heaven. I've avoided them, and I know why I've avoided them, even though I never actually heard them. And then I listened to them. I'm like, yeah, this is why I didn't listen to them.
The guy from Death Heaven was at the first Funeral Smoke show when I played, and I remember looking out in the crowd, and I was like, oh, what the what? That is true. He's the guy from Death Heaven saw me play.
Did he get lost on the way to somewhere else, or?
He was with somebody at the show. Like he was with his girlfriend. I won't give away who that is because it might be on the hush hush. But yeah, he was there, and I saw him, and I got giddy. I feel giddy. I feel pretty.
You know, the album cover to Sunbather, is it? Just makes me
What? Just the pink background?
the pink background, the letters, it just makes me blind with rage.
Well, their main guy that saw us, I think his name's Carrie. I guess he's actually like legit into black metal stuff, but I don't know. Maybe he just comes from like an art scene or something.
I mean, you can be into a genre and not produce good stuff within it.
I suppose so. I mean, it kind of falls in the place of like it's not generic at all, but that doesn't really help its case. It's too. I think it was just too artsy for like metal people at all. You know, you can get artsy, but it was sort of taking things in like in a direction that like I think most metal people like hate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
weird.
the idea of shoegaze in black metal a lot more than I like the actual execution of it.
Yeah, I honestly can't even think of like a band, any other bands that do that. Or I guess Wolves in the Throne Room, is that like
It's like Hibernoid too.
Hibernoid works though. I feel like Hibernoid really works. That may just because it's like older.
I think that a lot of this kind of stems from just taking Burzum too far, because they kind of like pioneered those droning riffs that kind of just get hypnotic, but then they just took it too far into the shoegaze direction. And
I kind of don't remember what the music from Death Heaven sounds like. I sort of remember it being like kind of the triumphant sound, but like kind of holding one note or something, like in a way that makes it kind of absent from black metal. It's more like some strange hardcore band, like Fucked Up, like a post-hardcore, like Fucked Up or something. The band was called Fucked Up, but it almost brings it to, how would you even say, this like peace-loving type of black metal that like exists in I guess whatever scene this is.
Yeah. No, it just all feels very hipster.
And plus, the vocals were probably not helping either.
I don't remember the vocals. I just remember not liking it as a whole. So
I think the vocals were like super hardcore-ish, or like
yeah, they'll do it.
yeah, just like really really hardcore-ish. Like hardcore guy tries to sing black metal, and he can't do it. It just comes out sounding like post-hardcore, which everybody hated when it started to come out, and I think it seems like even the younger guys who were like big on Instagram still hate it. They still hate that kind of stuff, especially when it's brought into like black or death metal in certain aspects. Like, you know, hardcore is brought into like brutal death, but that's still respectable. And as far as it coming into black metal, I think it usually goes to... It just gets to... It reminds you of like college kids. It's too suburban. It's too like human, I think. Well, black metal and death metal are supposed to kind of be this alien, fucked up thing. And a band like Death Heaven, I think it's far too... it's far too people... It's far too human-y, if that makes sense.
Can you imagine, like, Demilich with those vocals? That'd be so disappointing.
It would work better. It would work better with Demilich than it does with Death Heaven. Oh, like you could. It'd be hard to ruin Demilich. You know what I mean?
I mean,
because they're pretty fucking good.
Those vocals are just so integral to it, though.
Yeah, it's pretty important. But
you know what I'd love to hear? I'd love to hear an instrumental version of Nesbeth.
And then you could do your own vocals over it.
Yeah, the karaoke version. But, like, just, like, having that as just an absolute instrumental trip would be bonkers. That'd be really cool to hear.
Oh, maybe so. Are we hearing... I
was going to say, you want to hear about your week?
My week? I don't remember what I did this week. I started watching Normie Television on Adult Swim. Watchable show. I don't know if I mentioned it before. Common Side Effects is pretty watchable. It's some dude that started on Instagram. His name's like Joe Bennett, I think. Animator. And then this show is about like fucking mushroom that cures everything. It's interesting. It's like following a story. And totally watchable. Common Side Effects. I don't want to give too much away about it, but that's just something I've been watching lately.
Yeah, when I was seeing like on HBO Max, it being there, I was like, yeah, I'll put it in the watch list.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's pretty good. It's modern, but it's not even it's what I like about it. Like my favorite thing about it is that it is not trying at all to be funny, but it is funny. I think that's my favorite kind of shit in movies or television, when it's not a comedy show, but it is funny.
Yeah.
Don't try. No more trying. I guess besides that, went to a show on Saturday. I caught Pestilent Death, who are friends of Drew's. They were on his podcast. And then Sex Blasphemy, who I know one of the guys from the band. He was like friends with the Haunting Presence dude. I was hoping to see him there. And then Aris Menda was also playing. And their drummer is, well, I'm in his other band now. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well show up. And yeah, lo and behold, like everybody everybody I know was fucking there. So it was like pretty fun. Angel was there, and Drew and Anthony showed up. And yeah, Sex Blasphemy was cool. It's almost like it's like Black Death shit, but it's almost like Unblessing, where it's like Black Death stuff, but there's D beats and there's like sort of weird death metal parts in there, like that you wouldn't expect, like weird little melodic death metal flourishes and things. Ugh. So they were sort of the highlight. Well, kind of. Aris Menda, dude. They were like, I don't know if you've ever seen live footage of them or like what they do. Are you familiar with what they do at all, Fred?
I mean, musically, yeah, I have some of their albums, but I've never seen
the
them
music
live,
is pretty weird, especially seeing it live. They do really weird shit on the guitar. They're all over the place.
Well, what's it like?
It's like, well, it's hard to describe the music. It like I know a lot of people kind of criticize them for being like a bit of a hipster attractor. I think that's what the Black Twilight Circle has always been sort of accused of, and there were some hipster guys there, but their singer kind of acts like Seth Putnam or something, where he's like throwing himself to the ground and like going into the pit and like grabbing people and shit. But there was this one
Oh,
guy.
was that the photo you sent? Was that him?
That was the guy from Arizona. He was on the ground. That was like right next to me. I just kind of took a, and right after I took that picture, somebody threw a fucking beer can right in his face.
Oh my god.
So yeah, right when they start playing. Yeah, we actually met up. I was invited by one of the Unblessing guys to go to some brewery, and we were actually just standing around talking to the two Eddersmenda guys for a bit. We're just standing around drinking, and I ended up bringing up that Jesus AI edit, the picture where he's got like the gun to his face. I don't know if you've ever seen these, Fred. Have you ever seen those?
I don't think so.
They did one with Glenn Benton, and I've been seeing them pop up with like these satanic, like death metal pictures. It's an AI thing. Like they're standing there, and then Jesus comes and gives them a hug.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah, I saw one with him. I told him about that. He thought it was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, there's this other guy who's been to the fucking practice place before. I won't say who, but he was like involving himself into the show, so he was like kind of attached to the Arizmenda guy the whole time. Like he's like grabbing him and like fucking, I don't know. It was kind of weird. He was like attached to the singer the entire time, and I know one of the guys that owns the venue, and he was standing next to me at one point, and he looks at me. He goes, "What the hell is wrong with this guy?" And he was like some bald dude. He was like sort of buff, and I was like, I don't know, fucking Ninja Turtle. He was doing like these ninja moves. Yeah, I don't know. It just reminded me of fucking Ninja Turtle. And then I think the singer at some point fucking threw like an empty water bottle like right at somebody's face, like right in the crowd. Like it wasn't even a far distance. It was like the first person in the front row, boom, smack with a fucking water bottle.
Sometimes you need a good water bottle to the face.
Oh, I forgot this too. Fucking Christian, of course, starting pits, and fucking Angel was there too. So Angel's like up at the front of the stage for sex blasphemy, and Christian shoves him, and Angel almost goes flying directly into the band. And I like grab his forearm to hold him, and I like caught him.
Grab.
Yeah. He's like, "Let me go, just let me go."
I can do it.
And then during the Arizmenda set, this was maybe like 10 minutes into the set. I have a beer in my hand, and somebody bumps straight back into me, and the beer splashes directly into my face, and my eyes are burning.
Oh, God.
And my T-shirt is completely soaked in beer. It's never happened to this extent where it's that bad. But yeah, I got a face full and a shirt full of beer. But I had like a flannel with me, so I was like kind of using it as a towel. Yeah, it was cool. Just ran into some of the old guys. Talked to Rick a little bit. Yeah,
Sounds like
decent.
a good show.
It was pretty decent. It was a fun enough night. And then, of course, Christian and Anthony are like arguing randomly out of nowhere. At the taco place when we went to go eat after, we're sitting there, and Anthony's like, "Hey, Christian, do you ever think that your problems in life come from your own choices?" I goes, "What the fuck does that mean? Fuck y'all!" Like Anthony did come out of nowhere and like antagonize him. It was funny though, and they're just arguing the whole time, and there's like people staring. Me and Drew were just eating, and them two were like drunk, going back and forth. Was funny. But what about you, dude? I know you were taking a trip.
Yeah, I went up to San Luis Obispo.
You went up the country,
on Saturday, and we recorded the second You Told My Pros album with the bassist Michael from Fitted Corpse in his like little studio up there. It was pretty cool. It was like on the backside of like a Ralph's supermarket. There's like,
you hear that, Fred? My Fitted Corpse.
Yeah, they were fun.
And yeah, it was like in the back of the Ralph's. It was like some unassuming building that we just went into, and yeah, they just have like a whole recording studio there, and I guess like jam space. It like shares the building with like a law office and like some like after school study group or something. But yeah, we get there, and it's like 11, and we're just like setting up everything. And everything's all mic'd up by like 1, and then as soon as Julian like puts his input jack into the guitar and he takes it out, and then those like screws just like fell out, holding
Fell
that
out of what?
out of the guitar, like
Out of the input jack?
yeah, you know how
Okay.
how it has like those two like tiny like a washer and a screw. This,
to hold the fucking thing in?
yeah, like
Yeah.
that one just like fell out, and then he's like, damn, like not even like a string broke or anything. It was just like some other shit with his guitar that happened. I guess it's inevitable because he's been like having input issues and stuff. So it got fixed there, and then
Common problem.
yeah, then we're recording, and then fucking Marco's lowest E string gets fucking breaks right then too.
How do you break a bass string?
Yeah,
Never
that's
heard of
what
that.
that's what we're saying. Like, what the hell? And so then the guy Michael has to like go. He let us know. He's like, oh, I need to pick up a check from work or whatever. And we're like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, there's a guitar store like on the way, so we'll head there. And we go. It's like some big farmers market, and then we show up to the guitar store, and then we see the hours, and it's like we show up at 3:11 and they close at 3, and we're just like, fuck, like we don't have any like the next closest spot to like get strings is like 40 minutes out, so we just like
nice.
cut way
That's
more
That's
into
a whole day wasted.
yeah, it was like cut more into our time, and I was kind of pissed. I was like, fuck. I was like, because he had extra strings except for that one. And
You're like, fuck you fucking idiots.
no, I'm just like, damn, like, of course, while we're recording. And but the guy Michael knew, I guess, like the owner of the music store. He called him.
Open up, dude.
Didn't get an answer, and we're just like kind of waiting out there. And then the guy, I guess like a worker from there, just like came out the building, and we're like, oh, can we buy a bass string real quick? And he's like, a little pause. He's like, sure. And then we get our strings, and I guess there's a big difference between D'Addario strings and Ernie Ball, because Marco was having a little fit about it.
Marco having a fit?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm not used to these. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I never have to deal with Marco in a professional sense. He's at my place. He's just kind of there.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Chinese boy getting all mad. I'd probably smack him.
And I guess the Ernie Ball strings are a little bit more like rough and stuff if you, use them opposed to the D'Addario ones. I guess they're a little bit smoother to like strum versus like the Ernie Ball. It's like you gotta kind of like go through it a little harder to play them.
Oh, dude,
I
can I bring something up that did happen? You were there. When we so we were gonna have band practice on on Wednesday, and I show up, and the guys show up, and they're like, "Hey, where's Vince? Little Vince?" And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot he wanted to come. I was supposed to pick him up. Everybody showed up. I forgot. I usually pick up Vince before I go. I forgot." So everybody gets in the car, and we drive on over to Vince's house because he does not drive, and Vince and Marco have they don't let's just say they don't love each other, to put it kindly, I suppose.
I think it's like a one-way street.
and so the brilliant idea, before Vince gets in the car, they're like, have him sit next to Marco. Marco is the Chinese anime looking guy, and as soon as Vince opens the front door, he sees Paul's there. He opens the back door, and there's Marco, and he goes, hop in. And Vince goes, I don't know you well enough. That was just a funny reaction.
Yeah, and then it was funny. I was also, thinking the jokes later, because Marco usually carries a big knife with him, and Vince is scared of that. And we have like
Makes
a bit
him
about
uneasy.
Yeah, we have a bit about that, and then I was like, "Oh, Vince, watch out! You almost sat on his knife." But
The
yeah,
big knife.
but yeah, it was funny.
I don't know you like that, dude.
I'm gonna make you salmon.
You're gonna get salmon, Fred, or is that your mom?
That wasn't me.
That was Paul.
I'm getting salmon.
Your mom's bringing salmon. That's on the show. You're gonna get salmon, boys.
Cool. But
Salmon's mom's nipples.
But after that, we got back to it and we're recording. You know how we usually record, where it's like live, but it's just the drums being recorded. We'll have like a scratch track.
Sure, dur.
I feel like I
You boofed it.
no, I like doing that better because we were doing it live all together. So I was like doing my drum takes perfect, but like we would like the guitars would fuck up or something. So we're just like there from I guess like 3 to like I want to say 9, just like 6 hours. Just like going through these 12 songs that are not.
So
even,
you're
like,
saying you like doing it better where we all record at the same time?
I like recording, like just getting the drum parts done, and then you guys play to the scratch track. I think that's just more efficient and sounds better. But for that genre, I think having that more live feel altogether is the move. But it was just a little bit more work because all of us had the ASR parts all the way through. And,
yeah, it's different when it's like me and you doing live, different from like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, because it's like we usually get through things with less than like 3 takes or something.
Sure, yeah.
But this was getting up to like 10, 15 every time, every song. So
You guys are unprofessional. Use Sutton. I'm just kidding.
yeah, it was just like I guess a lot of the guitar stuff is like really hard because it goes from like really rhythmic like chords to these like more clean parts that have to be played very particularly. And just getting to that part of the neck perfectly is like, yeah, it's just like hard to do. Yeah, and we finally got it done, and we're there. We're like, Michael, how long do we have? Because I was kind of like on edge about that. I was like, we made it all the way up here, and hopefully we'll have time to record everything. And we're thinking like, stay till like 11 or 12. He's like, I can call it like at 2 or 3. And we're like, what the fuck? But apparently we needed all that time to do vocals and stuff like that. There's like some layered sections where Julian's doing vocals with Drew.
So you finished?
Yeah, so we got it all done.
Good.
Yeah, and yeah, I think it's gonna sound really way different from the last one because the other one.
How does the unmixed version sound? Do you have those?
Oh, we're gonna have that by like Wednesday. That guy Michael's pretty busy, but yeah, it sounds awesome, just like the raw version of it. And we're gonna have the dude from Orchid mix and master it, so it's gonna sound even better, I think.
Cool.
And yeah, that was that. So I'm excited for that to come out whenever it does. Really different sounding songs. I mean, you hear them all the time, but I think with the production that we got, it's way more. You can hear how dense it is and the like clarity between each instrument there. Like there's like some drum stuff that Julian and Marco were like, "Oh damn, I didn't even know you were doing that the whole time." I was like, "Yep, I was hitting the snare and the kick." So yeah, so hopefully that comes out pretty soon.
Cool.
And he said whenever we want to play a show or something, he, in that area, we can play with Mephitic Corpse, and I think he has another band.
Us
called,
band?
Yeah.
Me band?
Yeah, and
Me beer?
what else? Necrotic Order or something like that. But yeah, so we could play with them. But I'm seeing that they're just playing like awesome shows everywhere. Like they're gonna be playing with Mephitic Corpse is gonna be playing with Mournful Congregation and Evoken in like New York.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need a funeral doom show.
Yeah, and then they're also gonna be playing I guess like a month-long tour in like Europe and shit. So these guys getting their time to shine, because that last album I listened to it again, and it's just like Mortician with like riffs and shit. It's really really good.
Where's the Mournful Congregation show?
It's in New York.
All right, let's get on that one.
Yeah, but yeah, really really cool. That was like probably top 5 chillest guys I've ever met.
Chill.
He's on a really really high chill level.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that was my experience there. It's good.
Cool. All right. Christian texted me. He said, "Did I leave my hat in your car?" I said, "Don't know. Recording podcast right now." He says he doesn't. He writes, "Ow, okay, not oh, okay. Ow, okay." I thought that was interesting. Ow. Maybe that's what he said. He does kind of talk like that. Ow. Okay.
Yeah, that hurt. He didn't get his way.
Ooh, ouch. Not going to check right now. All right.
I think you guys have a break coming up. Can
We
you
got a
check?
break. We got a break. Paul can get his friggin' salmon.
Yep.
All right. Fred, you still there? Where is he?
Fred, you're muted, I think.
God damn it.
There you
Okay.
go.
It's okay. We're going on break anyways.
That's good. I gotta pee.
Okay. Me too. I got to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I gotta be.
All right.
I got to go look for that stupid hat.
All right, break in 3. 1, 2, 3. Break. We're back. We got our salmons, our peas, and that's it.
No, I got a bowl of mint and chip ice cream with
Oh, nice.
and vanilla wafers and a big old cup of coffee, 12 ouncer.
Man, I haven't tried mint and chip in so long, but
It's my second favorite ice cream.
when I first had it, I was just so put off from it. But might need to
What?
try it out.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I don't know.
Do you guys have Tiger Tail ice cream down there?
The hell is that?
No, of course you don't. Ugh.
Tiger tail.
Do you have Rocky Road down there, boy?
Tiger tail ice cream. Let's see.
I see Tiger Tail donut.
It looks pretty good. Oh,
It's
black
awesome.
licorice, bro. What the fuck?
Uh-huh.
Damn, Paul went black all of a sudden. Bro, what the fuck?
All right, that seems good because the orange
Paul
cream
in Nicklet
base.
mode.
Yeah, the orange cream base seems good. I don't know about the black licorice, but I assume it's the same effect as mint and chip.
What flavor is this? Just
looks good.
orange?
Do you like it, Fred?
Oh, I love
I
it.
said it's good. Tiger Tail.
Do you like it with peanuts or peanut free?
No, on its own, man.
So it's orange and black licorice. That's the official flavor, right?
Yep.
You know what? That like black licorice on its own, not for me. But I imagine with something else, it might be good with a combo.
Yeah,
so
it
I'm
does-
not totally put off by that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's so overbearing. It looks like
Yeah,
just
yeah. If it's just a little.
almost like little stripes from a tiger.
You know what I forgot about that? Like people don't really eat that much sherbet ice cream, or just like there's either rainbow sherbet or orange sherbet, and both are really good.
That's probably my top 5.
I forget about those. 'Cause, like, when do you ever see that?
Whenever I do, I get it.
I feel like that's a little kid thing. I haven't had rainbow sherbet. You don't hear about it as much as an adult. I'm eating adult ice cream. I'm eating my mint and chip. The Great Gatsby.
Oh, Fred, you know, I tried a Canadian snack on Saturday because, you know, Michael just came back from there.
Michael.
And it was like this coffee crisp. You know those?
Coffee crisp? Yeah, I didn't know you guys didn't have it.
Yeah, it has like the fucking Canadian flag on it, on the bag.
I mean, a lot of the shit that we have up here has a Canadian flag on the bag, even if it's an American company. So,
Yeah, it's like Nestle or something.
because a lot of
What'd you say?
American-
Nestle?
Nestle. Nestle.
Nestle?
Nestle.
Never heard of a Nestle Crunch?
No, but like a lot of companies that are American that sell stuff in the U.S. still source a lot of the products in Canada or the ingredients in Canada. So a lot of American company brands have Canadian flags on the labels because they use mostly Canadian products.
Well, here it says Doesn't seem interested in U.S. sales. A spokesperson said that the U.S. and Canadian companies are considered different businesses, and the Coffee Crisp is merely a local brand.
I had no idea.
This is very interesting to the listeners, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is like the J-Dog of like protein and weightlifting talk.
Well, we do that a lot. Anything that's not metal talk.
Yeah.
Kraken.
Talking about fucking Canadian food and shit.
Damn, that one like broke the sound barrier right there.
It did.
But
That one broke the hymen.
Wow.
Sorry.
get that skinless out your butt. But
Fucking Impractical Jokers. He's like, never trust the Japanese.
I saw you know that guy Matan?
Matan. Just
Yeah.
that dude.
I've been watching
He was fun. The Sam Hyde episode he did was funny.
yeah, I was watching some of his other ones cuz the guests, and one was Sal from Practical Jokers, and
Oh, that should be hilarious.
it was pretty funny.
He
Like-
interviewed that fat Mexican comedian. I
Felipe,
forget his name.
yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. That one was hilarious.
Yeah, it's
I remember you saying you didn't think that kid was funny. I think he's funny.
yeah, I think I kind of get it now. It just seems like if you can roll with it's just basically like a Turing test to see if the people are like actually funny, and be like, oh, can you roll with jokes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you say, oh, he's not funny, I think like, well, then what is? If that's not funny now, then what is now? I can't think of anything else that's like funny.
I like to
Kill
a
Tony.
lot. Yeah,
No, that's not for me. That's a little too straightforward. Not for me.
it's not even straightforward though. It's like random people coming out of a bucket.
No, I know, but the comedy itself is like more straightforward.
Yeah, I think
Which is not for me.
The funniest part is the interview after. Like everyone's minute sucks, but it's like you get more comedy from like the actual finding out who these people are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose I understand the appeal.
But
It's
yeah,
just not for me.
It is super like normied out now.
Yeah, I get the appeal. I get it. You know, it's like random. It's like, are they going to suck? Are they going to get booed? And then they're going to get like berated by the other comedians. Yeah, I get it. It's funny. And then they're going to get like judged by their lives and shit, which is funny, understandable. I see why it's popular, but yeah, not. It's just not exactly for me. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
But I saw one with Nick Mullen too. It was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
He was
Come Town was okay.
It seemed like he was trolling Matan more than the other way around. He said that shit the King of the Hill thing because Nick was about to hit his vape and then Matan like took it from him. He's like, no, you gotta take a 10-minute break from it, and then he's like, he's like, I want my binky back.
Why were you dancing with all those guys?
Yeah, pretty funny, but it seems like there's so much people going on. It's like ones that I'm like interested in watching, and now that I kind of get it, I'm like, all right. But I don't know about it being every episode kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this in the past few episodes where like I feel like all the meme stuff is kind of done. And like a lot of it was younger guys doing stuff, like fucking Instagram pages and Twitter and things like that. It's like, yeah, there was a time where it was like gold, but now we're just kind of in this stagnant age where now the latest thing is like Bobby Liebling and fucking JD Vance.
Yeah, you're gonna put them on like some metal bands, like band photo or something. That's gonna be funny.
Yeah, it's like, is that where we are meme wise? It's like
It just trends, yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm just in a place where I'm like, okay, I'm sticking to my millennial garbage. I'll post like Shooter McGavin saying I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. You know, just keep it kind of.
The oh yeah, and then they're coming out with Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, for
What?
I can dig the Zoomer stuff sometimes, but at the end of the day, I am a cringe millennial, and that's just the way it is.
Why is there a Happy Gilmore 2? Who's doing this? Why?
I'm gonna see it. We should see it.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that as friends.
Yeah.
Hopefully Vince and Rob can make it.
I know a lot of people hate Sandler, but I've been a Sandler head since I was a boy. The real Jews. That's what Robert said.
Yeah.
But yeah. Check that out.
Yeah, so we'll see that. Also, that other movie with Paul Rudd, Friendship. I want to watch that too.
I don't know what that is. I assume it's going to suck. Just because it's new and it's got Paul Rudd. And
It's
Paul
like
Rudd in recent years is kind of a dud.
It's what's it called? A24 version of I Love You Man.
Might be funny.
Yeah, it has that.
Just because every once in a while A24 puts out something that's watchable. Sometimes they don't. You know, it's a 50-50 there.
Yeah, so I think that's coming out next month anyway, so got some time to decompress.
Terrific.
But yeah, don't have much time to decompress now because
We're about to get into it. That's why I have this giant cup of coffee, because I was kind of, going down. Now I'm up, and I'll let Paul go. Go on.
so I made the boys subjected them to a 2-album listen from a band because I couldn't choose between the two, which one I like better.
Your indecision makes us suffer.
Yep. I said if Dan can do it, I can do it. So Fred, hopefully you pick 2 good ones next time.
I'm picking 3.
Next round around.
Yeah. But yeah. So the band is TOOH.
2 with 2 albums by 2.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
See what you did there.
Let's see. They're both in Czech. The album titles. So, Pod Vládou Spice, and then the English version of the second one we're doing is Order and Punishment. I'll just say, really, really early band for me. Probably one of the, grip of bands that I found through like torrents and stuff. I think we were listening to like a Thea Flame early on in high school, and then Appalling Spawn, of course, and just trying to find. Well, I don't know about necessarily trying to find bands that sound like that, but when you search for stuff like
this
that,
was popping up more often, like that Korean band I sent you, whatever they're called, Tokabi.
yeah,
The
so
one with the like paper lantern on fire.
yeah, just get this shit off like Pirate Bay or something, and
Yeah, Pirate Bay.
yeah, and it was I felt like at the time I found Order and Punishment, and it was always an album that sort of eluded me. I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this yet. But I would listen to it, and I'd had a handful of songs that I really liked out of it. Order and Punishment, and just recently I was like, all right, let me go back and check out this band and check out their discography, which I fell in love with. Like all their albums up to Order and Punishment is like top tier for me, from their demos to their 4 albums that they had in between. They're just really, really great. And they're one of those bands that has English versions and Czech versions of albums for some reason. And we'll get into that because I reached out and was able to speak with, I think it was Humanoid, the guitarist and vocalist, bassist for TOOH, and yeah. So I don't know. Let's get into what you guys think about this, and if you guys have any familiarity about it, and then I can kind of get into this interview section that I got from the guys. So, Fred, what you said you haven't heard this before, right?
Not in any great extent. It's a band that I've been aware of and had heard in passing, but never any in-depth listens, which doesn't surprise me. Anything that's labeled progressive, I tend to shy away from. But it's pretty good. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I assume you like the
I-
first album better than the second, right?
I did, but I don't think there was any huge difference for me that made me vastly prefer it over Order and Punishment.
Yeah.
I just preferred that one. And what Czech bands are awesome. I love
They really
how,
are.
I love how Czech sounds in metal, like the language. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And the vocals, especially on the first album, I'm gonna call it Pod. They kind of like range from this like screeched, high pitched approach, and they do a few other things in there, but that tends to be the one that consistently shows up, and it just sounds awesome. There's another Czech band, Inferno. They're black metal, but the vocals have a similar approach, and because they're both in Czech, I've thought of Inferno's vocal approach quite a bit while listening to it, and I really like Inferno. But you know, all the bands that sing in Czech, whether it's I don't know, Debestral, Root, fucking Master's Hammer, Steny Plemenu, and Umbertka, for God's sake. I just love the way the Czech language sounds in metal vocals. Musically, it wasn't what I was expecting. It was... I know they're usually listed as progressive grindcore or something like that. It was more interesting than I expected it to be. It almost felt like grindcore gone jazz fusion. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, because I might say that in a bad way for some other bands, but this one actually works. It's spastic, but it still doesn't like veer into like bizarre instrumental sections that are just needlessly wanky. It all has purpose. Kind of reminded me of Disharmonic Orchestra in parts.
Yeah, that's an influence for them.
Yeah, that's not surprising, especially Undimensional. That was it's just like a bizarre angular approach to writing this kind of music, and it was cool. And this seems like a very Paul pick between knowing that you're a fan of Lycothea Flame and Appalling Spawn. This just makes sense for you. But
What's that supposed to mean? Just kidding.
it's in your wheelhouse. It's like I could listen to this episode, the part we're doing right now, and know who picked this album. But
Okay.
You say you're predictable? Yeah. Just be like a fucking antagonistic dick to Fred. Okay, what does that mean? Okay. The fuck?
But what I want to know is, I only had a chance to listen to the two albums that you mentioned, or that you told us about. Are they all worth listening to?
From Higher Will, definitely. And the demos sound a bit more straightforward
Yeah, you usually do.
than this. From Higher Will is, I can get into more of the like lineup and sound changes with like the from the horse's mouth, but essentially it was like they had some members, they switched vocals around, and ended up getting a way different sound coming with from Higher Will in 2000, and eventually caught some steam enough to get on Earache's like sub-label Elitist Records. And I think up to this point, Order and Punishment is all worth listening to. But between Pod and Order and Punishment, those are the best releases. And I think the next album, Democratic Solution. Oh no, I think it was the EP. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, the Democratic Solutions is like their We're Back album, and people weren't really digging that. But after that, like the EPs and albums that came out after that, and from 2019 to present, have been more to the roots of these two albums. So they're really great too.
Okay. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed these two, and I would dig into them a little bit more. I mean, they're no Maniac Butcher, let's be clear, but they're awesome.
Yeah, but I think they are probably one of the most manic bands out there, and even
Yeah.
from being in the pool of Czech grindcore, that's saying something.
Mm-hmm.
But Dan,
You didn't say the acronym. The obliteration of humanity.
yeah,
Yeah.
Cool.
There may be this might be like the Thin Lizzy lyric for "Don't believe a word." Don't believe me if I tell you. Not a word of this is true, because I don't know if Paul showed me this band or I showed him this band, and I think he would say he showed me this band, but I think in my head that's what I'm saying. I don't know what's true or not. I don't. It very well could have been Paul who showed me this.
might be in the leg
Or it-
videos.
No, back then I would have put it in the favorited videos.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, this is one I heard Order and Punishment in high school. Probably around the time when I met Paul, which would be late 2010, early 2011, sometime in that vicinity. I remember, like, it's always been in my head. It never, like, the music itself never stuck straight with me, but I knew it was some kind of wild, like, more modern sounding death metal. And I suppose it wasn't too surprising hearing Order and Punishment when I finally got to come back to it. It's like, I guess what is a little bit surprising is how kind of like mathcore this is. It almost reminds me of something like the Dillinger Escape Plan would do or something in certain moments. It's like kind of jazzy, like screamo-ish in certain parts. Although the core is like death metal, but they've made it to they've done it to a point on that album that's more. It sounds like the year it came out. It sounds very modern, but it is manic. The vocals are weird. The instrumentals are not as like free. It feels like because there's a lot of weird neoclassical solos that come in and out of it that are interesting, but I don't know how much that actually does for me. And also, what I do find cool about this one is there seems to be like a weird folky element to it in like certain songs that aren't on the Pod album.
yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so I had heard at some point I came back to From Higher Will and also the Pod Vládou Biche. I don't know how to pronounce that. Because I think maybe a few years ago in like 2021, I was kind of on a writing streak where I just was like raring to go. I did Galicia at the time. I did Droom and Miss Twilight and Fossilized. I think all came out in that year. And at that time, I had this idea in my head of like a certain type of death grind that I considered to be like mechanical. Maybe industrial wouldn't be the right word. And the Obliteration of Humanity is one that popped up in my head while I was writing that Droom, that little 2-song EP. And I had come back to the Pod album. I think maybe just because the album art was really cool. Like I've said before, I really like album covers with like dragons or monsters on them. I feel like those are just the coolest looking artworks here. But there's also some other strange stuff on this art. You got like an orgy going on, and then you have like a bunch of black judges in the corner. And then on the other side, it's hard to tell exactly what that is. It's like the sun and like resurrected fucking, looks like the White House or something. I don't know.
Looks
It's
like
sort of hard
mathematical equations or something in the background.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's sort of hard
Yeah.
to pinpoint.
Well, apparently that artwork is part of a bigger piece, and the left side is supposed to be like more like science based, and then the right side is supposed to be like more religious, and it's like split in that sort of way.
Ah, I see. Okay, yeah. But getting back to this kind of idea of like mechanical death grind, that's exactly what the Droom EP. That's what I had in mind. I wanted to do something like that, and it's funny. I didn't really equate this. Well, I didn't exactly know this like similar artist list was here next to TOOH, but these are all the bands that I had in mind, including a few others. Old Lady Drivers was one. They kind of have a mechanical death grind sound to me, like in a very specific type of way. Carbonized, another one that makes sense. It's funny that here's Appalling Spawn and Lacathia of Flame, but maybe that just kind of makes sense in a different way. For whatever reason, I would consider Impetigo to also be in this group of like mechanized death grind. Oh, and Disharmonic Orchestra too. Like you even saw on that split that we did, Fred, where I took something that looks a lot like the Undimensional album for like artwork influence or whatever. So yeah, this kind of fits the bill with what I would consider to be that type of death grind. Oh, you know who else would be fitting there? Multiplex from Japan.
Yeah.
There's probably a few others, but how would you even describe that? Like, Fred says, yeah, he's understanding what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm exactly making this up, but there is something about these bands. And I feel like
Weird
Impetigo
death
fits
grind.
there. What's that?
Weird death grind.
There you go. Weird death grind.
I feel like Impetigo is almost too straightforward to truly compare. Like, I think they're an influence for sure, but aside from like a little bit of originality here and there, I don't think they're as off the charts as TOOH.
No, but I would also disagree with you when you say that Impetigo is like straightforward, just because they're so early, and also they totally do go unhinged in a lot of moments. Their music is just more simplistic, but they're
I guess that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like they're not as they definitely go unhinged, but it's not
Yeah.
as complex as what.
No, it's definitely
these guys
not
are
as
doing.
complex, but I feel like that still works in the mechanized kind of like family tree or whatever. There was another band that actually was straight up like drum machine, and they remind me a lot of Impetigo. I don't know that a lot of people have heard of them. They're called Pain Eater. I believe that's one word. Yeah, death metal grindcore from Florida, from Brandon. I don't know if these guys have any. Yeah, they barely have any like similar artists. There's something called Eye Gouger. Don't know that. But the 1990 hypersexual psychoviolence is a really cool example of this kind of thing. And you even look at it; it kind of looks like something Impetigo would use as artwork, or like what's that other damn band? The Accused. Just because the logo kind of looks like The Accused too. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Musically, I suppose I like this 2003 album a lot better because it sounds more. It just sounds more metal to me. Like the Order and Punishment sounds. I like it, and I dig the some of this modern stuff. But for whatever reason, the 2003 album it speaks to me more, and it does. Like it's a little bit more limited than that last album, which I actually like.
Yeah, I think, well, I'll get into, like, the interview section, too, but basically that first album pod, or the second album pod, it was only the two brothers, Humanoid and Schizoid, on that album, and then for the 2005 is when they brought in two additional members, so their scope got a little bit broader with what they were doing. Yeah. But I guess I can speak more about the like mathcore influence and stuff. I think it's kind of like a misnomer, because Earache kind of put out that notion with that sticker I got from that CD. They're saying, oh, for fans of Voivod and Dillinger Escape Plan, but I think
You're cutting in and out. I can't really hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was saying that E-Rake put a sticker on their order and punishment, and it kind of gave the misnomer of a genre of like mathcore or math grind aspect to it, with like comparing it to Dillinger's game plan. But I just think that this sounds a lot like just technical grindcore, and I guess you could say it's progressive in a way, the same way like a Thea Flame is. But I think like I was listening to a Necrophagus earlier, and I was like, yeah, this seems like a lot more comparable than you would put for like Dillinger Escape Plan or something. It's just like really technical, almost neoclassical in a way. With their leads.
There's kind of both of that. I was thinking the same thing. Like, it sounds like technical death metal. That's like the biggest part of Order and Punishment. Like the what would you even call it? Yeah, the like mathcore thing is like barely there, but it feels like it is there a tiny bit. Not a huge part, just a tiny bit. Like tech death for sure is what would you I guess what you would even call this, like in a straightforward kind of way.
Yeah, it's like just technical grind, death grind, I think. And I think putting that label on it as like math and stuff, and even progressive, is kind of gonna turn off people from it, because I don't really hear anyone really talk about this band, even though they're probably one of the bigger bands from Czechia. To get on, Earache of all labels and stuff.
I think we brought these guys up. We talked about them with Jub one of the times that he was on here, I think.
But just that whole scene, like there's Melancholy Pessimism too, that's really great. Contrastic is a phenomenal death grind from there as well. And then I forget what that band is called. It's like Mincing something. It has a really funny name. Let me see if I can find it really quick.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Contrastic. I always totally forget about that.
Oh, Mincing Fury and Guttural Clamor of Queer Decay. That shit's really, really great stuff too. And it seems like a lot of those like Czechia death grind bands, or even the one like Jub covered, like Hermaphrodite, they are all labeled experimental death grind or progressive death grind or whatever, but they all aren't like aping each other. There's like so much there's something in the water where they're able to like come up with just really unique sounding shit to stand out from one another. I think it's a really, really great scene, and these guys are at the top of it for me.
Yeah, maybe Alienation Mental would be like thrown in that.
Yeah, they're from there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Experimental death metal, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I guess we can just call it experimental. That almost goes without saying. Like, death metal should be experimental, but it seems like there's just so much stuff that sounds exactly the same. You kind of have to put a little label on it where it's like you kind of know what you're gonna get. You're gonna get something interesting rather than just saying, oh, a death metal band.
Yeah, it seems like progressive stuff just means that you can hear the bass.
Probably.
So like, cause it's all over the Order and Punishment.
Well, I feel like progressive works. I mean, because progressive, that word means doing something different, moving something forward.
Yeah,
and it's not what people think when it's like, oh, progressive. It sounds like said band, because that band is also in the genre progressive. It's like not really a genre, more of a like a statement or something.
Yeah, it seems like there's three extremes of, or on the spectrum of, I guess not normal, like genre. It's like progressive, and then you got experimental, and then avant-garde.
Yeah, that's like the three. And avant-garde and experimental almost mean the same thing.
Yeah, I think avant-garde is way more on the extreme, where it's like beyond, like,
it's so weird.
It's like on the branches of their core foundational genre, versus like progressive, being more closer, like I guess you could say on the trunk of the tree.
Yeah, because like you look at Portal from Australia, they're classified as experimental death metal, but they're like pretty close in sound to Impetuous Ritual, which I think has maybe some of the same members. It does, but that's just a death metal band. It's like, you know, these little, maybe just the little bit of weird things that Portal does makes you would put them in the experimental camp, I guess.
Yeah.
While their other side, Impetuous Ritual, is still weird, but not weird enough to be experimental. They're just a death metal band.
Yeah. And I guess I'll get more into like the interview section before we get into the music, just because you know, I was lucky enough to get in contact with the guy. So I was like, okay, how did TOOH start? And he said, okay, I'll give you the official biography. So this is going to be like the question that you, or the email that you read. Okay, so it says the origins of the band TOOH go back to 1990 when brothers Joseph and Jan formed the band Devastator with their two friends in Prague. 91, Devastator played several live shows in Prague, recorded an unofficial demo which was never distributed. Musically, it was primitive grindcore with that was vulgar, but also socially critical lyrics like Napalm Death. He said the average age of the members were like 15 and 14, so high school band.
Oh, wow.
And it says in 1992-93, where years of total decline, the rehearsal room was more of a drinking and smoking weed than playing. The bandmates showed no musical progression, so the brothers played more or less alone. At the end of 93, they changed their name to TOOH, and Joseph goes to live in the country, his parents' holiday cottage, where with the new rehearsal room there, and the brothers are still playing. And in 95, they record a 16-song demo, "You Pieces of Fucking Meat," in October in one day in the studio. And the music's still intense grindcore, but distinct from Devastator. And he said the lyrics are now violent, negative, and sound quite cynical, but rather in a black humor sort of way. The only flaw is that the record lacked a bass guitar. He said shortly after the release, the brothers hide behind the pseudonyms Humanoid and Schizoid, and a new member joins the band, guitarist Pavel Slavic, and he'll play bass in the band under the pseudonym Android. I like those oids, yeah. And 97, the trio record their second demo, Dream It's Not, It Mustn't, which is the band's first pro tape. Contains 6 tracks, death grind style. It was distributed abroad with the English title It's Not, Can't Be a Dream, and receives very good feedback. And in 98, the bassist Android gets fired from the band, and the brothers stop playing live. In 1999, the siblings go in the recording studio, record their 10-song debut, From Higher Will, which is released a year later at their own expense. They also record an English version from Higher Will, which they do not distribute. The music from Higher Will can be characterized as psychopathic death grind with a disturbing atmosphere, and for the first time it features guitarist Humanoid as the lead vocalist, who exalted screams become another hallmark of the band. And on the demo tapes, it was the drummer Schizoid who did the vocals. And TOOH are getting started to perform again, only the two of them, with the bass recorded on the CD by Humanoid. The response to the debut was universally positive. A year after the release, the brothers received an offer to release an album from the fledgling domestic label Snuff Production and Plasma Records. In 2002, the siblings went into a recording studio to record their second album, titled Under the Reign of the Whip, which was released in summer of 2003. The collection of 10 new tracks can be probably described as a new unique death grind with alien elements. The response to the CD is really excellent. In 2003, the duo recorded 2 more tracks for their upcoming EP, For Terrarium to Columbarium, which was not realized at the time. And in 2004, a new member joined the band, guitarist Wokus, Petr Vokal, And 2 months later, the bassist Freedom, his name's Peter too, joined the band, and they were contacted by Lee Barrett from Elitist Records, sub-label of Earache. The contract is signed at the beginning of July. The third album is called Order and Punishment and was recorded in the early 2005. The album contains 8 new tracks and 2 re-recorded tracks from the second demo. The realization of the album was accompanied by communication and financial complications with the publisher, Digby Pearson, from Earache, as a result of which the band did not receive any copies of the released album nor percentages of the sale. In 2005, the brothers put TOOH to sleep as they plan to pursue their new rock project, Gemini Gem. And for that matter, that is such a weird fucking band. But in 2011 is a year of awakening. The brothers are again as a duo preparing new songs. During the preparation, Humanoid develops paranoid schizophrenia, which makes the album's release drag on to 2013. The album, titled Democratic Solution, will be released online only and is free to download. The interesting thing is that the album is also made completely at home on your knee and has a very unusual production. This album sounds like a MIDI demo that features the sound of programmed bass and keys, for which the guys get a lot of criticism. They also try to perform the program accompaniment, but the concert turns out disastrous, especially for Humanoid, who is unable to perform in front of people with a disease in his head. So the band takes another break from playing for a while. 2017, the band returns as a purely studio project. In 2019, they released the EP Comos, which was released only online and can be purchased on Bandcamp, as well as the entire discography from the band. The guys have prepared this mini as a precursor to the studio full-length album, which is entitled Free Speech, which is released on CD by the Czech label Vládou Productions in autumn 2020. An interesting feature of the new album is that each track has its own color illustration. These oil paintings were created by Humanoid, who has been painting the covers since the band's inception. In 2022, the duo started playing live again after a long time playing into programmed VST instruments at concerts. The brothers also released 4-song mini album, Permanent, on the Vládou Productions label, which was released on audio cassette and limited edition. Currently, the boys have recorded a new studio album, which will be called Po Avokio Pazaneje. The album is expected to be released on CD in the first half of 2025, again on Vládou Productions. So that's their bio there. So big history with the band.
Wow, they really took their time answering those questions.
Yeah, that was the longest answer. But yeah, you guys got anything to say about that?
I found a music video by Gemini Gem where they're wearing those like fucking
Those masks.
those wigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
really.
sounds like prog rock, like Marillion or something.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's hard to find stuff by Gemini Gem.
Yeah, I was having a hard time. I was only able to find that video too.
Yeah, that's all I found. Selka.
But yeah, I asked them. I was like, "Oh, are you guys? Or Fred, do you have anything to say about all that? Their bio?"
No, that kind of summed it up pretty well.
They summed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like, what more can you add from what they say themselves?
yeah. I asked them. I was like, "Were you guys always into metal from a young age, or any other types of music during that time?" Said before puberty, we listened to all kinds of music: pop rock, hard rock, electronic. I'll mention Depeche Mode, for example. Still like them today. By the time we were teenagers, we were listening to mostly metal, grindcore, hardcore, punk, even classical music. We still listen to classical music today, and my brother even listens to jazz. And I said, "Were you guys classically trained musicians or self-taught?" And he said, "In the beginning, we had more experienced people helping us. For example, my brother used to take private lessons with the drum teacher, Mr. Pausmick. I mostly taught myself guitar, but it's true that some important things were shown to me by experienced musicians in the beginning." So I just thought that was really interesting that they, had a little foot in the door, like being classically trained, but also, doing a balancing act of being like a guitarist, because a lot of those riffs like you don't really hear anywhere else in this band. And I said, "How do you guys come up with the name and acronyms?" He said, "We invented the acronym because in our beginnings we wanted to be the most hard, brutal, and human as possible. Smiley face with the nose, smiley face with the nose." And I said, "How do you guys come up with your guys' pseudonyms?" We gave each other our own pseudonyms depending on how we felt at the time. Only Pavel got the nickname from us. He didn't invent it himself, Android. So what would you guys categorize your music as? I would classify our music as progressive, quite technical death grind, or in other words, avant-garde death grind. Smiley face with the nose. What were what were some of your musical influences? And then he rattles off right here. Musical influences were bands like a lot of early thrash shows like Overkill, Living Death, Sodom, Bulldozer, Napalm Death, Suffocation, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, Incantation, Immolation, Monstrosity, Malevolent Creation, Cryptopsy, Nile, Terrorizer, Cyclone, I don't know them, Derange, Carcass, Broken Hope, Incubus, Flotsam and Jetsam, Pariah, Sabbath, Manila Road, DRI, MOD, Sadist, Laz Rocket, Exodus, Testament, Vader, Bioaggression, Baphomet, Assassin, Lawnmower Death, Hypocrisy, Cataclysm, Meshuggah, Marduk, Emperor, Enslave, Creator, Cryptor, Tor, Arcane, and Vidasit. He said, "We're also."
Lawnmower Death, it makes kind of sense.
Does it sound fucked up?
Yeah, it's like fucked up crossover thrash from the UK. it like if you hear that, it makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, I think a lot of the thrash makes sense too. And he said we're also very influenced by classical music, especially symphonic, organ, chamber, and instrumental music. The works of the composers in particular have influenced me a lot. Dr. Shostakovich, A. Chatchurian, D. Kabalevsky, O. Messiaen, M. Dupree, J. Alain, M. Rieger, A. Haba, R. Wagner, S. Prokofiev, B. Martineau, P. Eben, C. Franck, O. Respighi, J. S. Bach, Mozart, and Tchaikovsky. So my brother was also influenced by jazz, specifically the authors and performers Max Roach, Clifford Brown, Sonny Rollins, Dizzy Gillespie,
Dizzy Gillespie?
Yeah. Billy Coben, Charlie Parker, Miles Davis. And I said, "What are some of your favorite bands back then and now?" And he rattles off the same bands, and he said now Overkill, first 4 albums, Bulldozer, first 5 albums from Metallica. I occasionally listen to modern bands like Vitriol, Vulvodynia, and Infant Annihilator. And I was like, "Tell us about your lyrical themes and what TOOH is trying to get across with them." Said our lyrics are mostly rhymes, full of violence, killing, perverted sex, misanthropy, misogyny, politics, black humor, and hate. Rhymes full of fantasy and degenerates. Smiley face with a nose, smiley face with a nose. We try to share a little bit about man and society. And I said, why were there 2 editions from Higher Will in English to get an English-speaking audience? So we released both the albums in both languages. Let's see. Yeah, in 2021 they released the English version, and it's possible to purchase as a CDR with the English booklet via Bandcamp. The album was recorded in 2000, and yes, you're right, the version is intended for English-speaking listeners. I said, "Could you tell us about your time in the studio? Any particular highlights during those recording sessions?" We recorded Vive l'Esquivule. We enjoyed it. It was a feast of music. The album was recorded and mixed the first week of November 1999 at Hacienda Studios. And interestingly, I recorded all the guitars and bass plus the lead vocals, so I had a lot going on. Another interesting thing is that the drums weren't edited like they are today. So the recording is very live, and that's a good thing. So we had a lot of fun, and after the recordings, we went for a beer every night. And when we recorded Pod, it was similar to Z. The interesting thing about the recording is that I was on the toilet a lot because I got salmonella. He said the albums Z and Pod and the EP Zeteria were recorded using old technology, magnetic tape. All subsequent albums were recorded digitally. I said, do you prefer singing in English or Czech? He said, I'm sure we could do both in English and Czech, but in Czech the rhymes are so beautiful and our native language is beautiful, and it should be a shame to not have vocals in Czech. And I said, when writing songs, do the riffs comes first, like fully fleshed out with the structure, and then the drums come after, or is it jammed out on the spot songwriting? He said, we did both. But the more common way was that I prepared the music at home and then came to the rehearsal room with the finished music. But often we still arrange these riffs and passages together. I said, how was the Czechia scene? Did you play with big bands like Paul and Spawn? He said, yeah, we played with the Paul and Spawn a few times. Czech metal scene is definitely interesting. We have nice memories of many concerts. And I said, how was the crowd response to seeing you guys perform live? He said, it was mostly good, but it's possible that some concerts... where more bands are playing, there's people who don't like us very much. Smiley face knows. Did you guys get a response to more of a response record sale wise at home or internationally? Definitely abroad. We sent more CDs and t-shirts to the US. I said, could you elaborate on why you guys broke up and got back together? I said the partial answer is in the answer of your first question, but I've always been one behind the ending of our band. The first time in 2005, I was burnt out and had personal complications in my life, so I decided to end TOOH project and focus on a new rock project called Gemini Gem. And for the second time in 2013, I decided to end the band for health reasons. And why did we come back? Because we missed it, obviously. But the main thing is that we're enjoying it as much as we were, and we're still making new music. I said, is there any reason why there's no interviews with the band? He said, maybe because we don't push ourselves to the forefront everywhere. I said, what is the best TOOH record in your opinion? He said, the best record's Pod. And then I'm really excited about our latest record, Po Voki Pazanasia. After the Fruits, You'll Know Them, which is coming out soon on Lavadome Productions. I said, do you guys have any future plans with TOOH? So the main plan is to keep making good music as long as possible and occasionally play in front of people. And I said, tell us about your other artistic endeavors like painting and electronic project. I don't have much time for painting at the moment, but I want to start again and paint something bizarre. I'll listen to some good music while painting. As far as my electronic music is concerned, I've already composed 3 new songs, so I still have to compose a few more pieces, and these will all be drummed by my brother for the first time, and then released on the album Bandcamp. And he said, thank you very much for your questions. Humanoid.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, some of his artwork is pretty interesting too.
Oh, yeah. It's,
Look at Premiant, the final. I think it's the final EP, the one from 22. You have stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a more demented, like syphilic artwork or something.
Well, that is demented.
Yeah, it's definitely fitting for the band. I enjoy all their art really well.
I agree. Pod is their best album.
Yeah. But yeah, Fred, you got anything to say, or Dan, about all that?
No, that's good. You're a real go-getter for getting those questions.
Yeah, I was just really into the band for a moment, and you know, it's gonna be a lifetime now. But they're, you know, great enough to respond to me, especially with the, you know, all those thoughtful answers. So I appreciate Humanoid and Schizoid. I feel like their name should be switched though now. But yeah, that's you know, my little interview with them. I think they misconstrued it at first because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a podcast and I kind of want to have some interview questions from you guys. He's like, can we do written form, because our English isn't very good. So I was like, yep, that's perfect. But Yeah, so yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Listen to some tracks.
Yeah,
think
let's
so.
go. Let's go with Pod first. Freddie, which one would you like to do?
I was going to track 8. Taurus.
Okay.
See.
I'm gonna do Aura and Ziada first, so that comes up as the 5th track. So let's do that one first, and we'll get to yours.
Okay. Yeah, this was actually one I wanted to do too. I remember specifically liking track 5 a lot.
Yeah,
I was actually hesitating between 5 and 8.
yeah, dude, like, honestly, this whole album is so fucking good. I wanted to do Slapetto, wanted to do Miserelli Visceri Contemplaci.
That's my Zorelli, buddy.
Yeah, I wanted to do that. But yeah, Aura and Ziada really stood out to me, so we'll go ahead and listen to that one first, and we'll be right back. Alright, we're back from Aura and Ziada.
Yeah, we are.
What a fucking wild
track.
ride. Starts off so beautiful and angelic with those like two leading guitars.
Yeah, the dueling guitar is almost a power metal thing.
Yeah, and then just goes just completely off the rails.
Yeah, they know how to make cool riffs that are like really happy sounding, but then also they have these like momentary grindcore heavy parts where you're like, oh yeah, this is grindcore. They like keep reminding you with these momentary like gong, 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 and then go back and look.
Yeah, he's all over the neck playing this shit.
Yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. This is God. That's why I like this album so much better. Like, this one feels like the most unformulaic in a way that the other one doesn't. It's interesting.
Yeah, way more unhinged. I'm sure that there was less, boxes to check with just the two members there.
Sure.
Yeah, I just think that the drumming on here is really great, especially that like really pingy snare, almost like Saint Anger-ish.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, I know we all like the vocals, but if people are turned off from it, just grow up, be a man.
Grow up.
Listen to the shit. It's probably better than what you're listening to right now, honestly.
I'm sure it is. What are you listening to? A new brutal death metal band? Sorry, buddy. Nobody cares.
Yeah. This is way better.
You know
What are you
actually kinda
doing?
makes
Looking
me-
at
kinda
JD
makes me
Vance
think
memes?
of?
What, Fred?
It actually kind of makes me think of Melt Banana.
Fair.
It's-
Totally fair.
In its absolute random wildness. And like Melt Banana does veer into like grindcore territory here and there. I'm thinking especially on the album Cellscape, which is the one
That's
that
the
I know
best
the
album.
most. I
Yeah,
thought so
same
too.
here.
I really like
Yeah,
that
it is
one.
their best album. It has the most strongest songs.
Yeah. But identical? No, but I see a lot of parallels in how they
Super similarities. Like it's
Yeah.
it's grindcore. TOOH is grindcore. Melt Banana is grindcore, but they are both sort of off the reservation. They're not concerned with like what fits in this little category. They're concerned with like, let's just make cool, wild, heavy shit. Both bands, and with both wild vocals too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what I really, really enjoy about this band is that they have these like really elegant melodic riffing throughout their songs, and then they also, like you said, have like those death grind reminders, like, and
Right.
they even have like the most fucked up like thrash breakdown I heard in this song here, and the drumming here is like phenomenal. It's almost as fluid as the riffs are. Not playing it so much like an orchestral way, but just like fitting the riffs like note to note pretty much.
Yeah. Go ahead, Fredward. I
was
mean,
gonna
Fred
say,
Worm.
All that, all that kind of speaks to the fact that this album is almost 50 minutes long and doesn't get boring is impressive for anything to do with the grind, because most of the best death grind albums I can think of,
Like 20 minutes long.
yeah, 20 minutes, half an hour tops. 48 minutes, you're like, we're getting a little bit long in the tooth here, but these guys pull it off.
Yeah, I'll say like these guys are in like the nature of their death grind is the variety of riffs, but they definitely settle in parts for much longer than a lot of death grind does.
Yeah.
And instead of having parts that repeat in like a A-B sort of structure, it's just pulling all this shit like in a more like narrative way where it's actually kind of taking you somewhere.
Yeah.
And the vocals on here, like as soon as it comes out, it's just like some gnarly ass scream, and he's like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah, I caught that too. The rhyming parts. I heard that earlier. It made me giggle.
Yeah, and he's like the sinka blink tap. I just translated the lyrics too. They're very funny. I'll just say a couple of stanzas here. Aura and Ziada, the girls are a sight to behold, but shake them, you lustful gentlemen. And as money jingles in your pockets, a diaper will be necessary in your pants.
That is funny. That is funny.
Let's see what
A
else.
diaper will be necessary in your pants.
That story will be eternal, but no one would see behind it. Two cute young girls.
Okay, cool.
I'm surprised how, for lack of a better term,
Horny?
how emotional the guitar tone is on this.
Yeah, Dan was saying that it was almost like Rika's Undone Gas Fumes.
Yeah.
Well, it riff-wise and also in, like, guitar tone-wise, even when Fred said Melt Banana, like, Melt Banana has a certain guitar tone that I think shares similarities with TOOH and shares similarities with Reek of the Unsent Gas Fumes. I feel like Reek might actually be, because I know for a fact, like, they like a bunch of underground bands, and I feel like this band might just be a huge influence on them. You know, I don't know that for a fact, but I am seeing similarities. Like, even look at Reek of the Unsent Gas Fumes artwork. It sort of shares similarities to this. Their vocals are weird, and they also do the momentary like heaviness thing, like where they remind you they're a grind band, and they're also, and even the drumming, like there's so many similarities between this album and Reek of the Unsent Gas Fumes. Like it's kind of if that band wasn't influenced by these guys, that's actually, that would actually be surprising, because it seems super similar to me. Is it just me?
I'm
No.
not familiar with Reek enough to really say.
No,
It's
like
not a
all
band
the
I've really dug into.
bro.
It's like this.
Yeah, it's like melodic, and that's a little bit more mechanical and industrial, but I could definitely see that, especially with like the blasting passages with the drums.
Yeah, but it's like not it, like, even though that band has a drum machine, it's not that different, even like mechanized wise. Like everything still flows in a really in just a melodic sense into some of these like breakdown parts. It's like, it's crazy how similar it is. I never put two and two together until like recently, when having to listen to this album for the show.
Yeah. But
Yeah, thought that was an important point.
I just think like the scope just within this song is so grand, and it's like the rest of the album is just as dense with it. Like each song, it's not necessarily like similar. Like there's not one song that sounds like the other, but it's all working with the same parts that
Yeah,
comes
there's like that part at the end I said I really liked, that dum ticka dum dum ticka dum. They do like these adventure rock beats with like melodic. They're not even melodic. They're heavy chords, but they're placed in like melodic sections.
Yeah.
And like they do that a lot in the songs. So like you're right. They're all working in the same kind of like all the same ideas are present in all the songs, but they all have their own like unique flavors to them.
Yeah, and
Tiger Tail or whatever.
I don't really hear much other bands, especially before, that sound like this. I could see more after bands kind of, I don't know about
After, sure.
necessarily taking this approach or being directly influenced by these guys, but
I think me and Fred kind of hit it with Melt Banana and Reek. I think we're kind of like G's now.
I think they're the presence of like classical and jazz is like not in like a bad way either. It's like they're using that sort of influence and, you know, filtering it through grind, and I wouldn't even say any of these riffs are like death metal in any way either. It seems to be like a creation of their own.
Yeah, they're all sort of unique and don't really fit in with yeah, like we said, they're not following any of the rules that like a grindcore band usually would be following.
Yeah. I like this one review too, was saying that like Humanoid is like akin to Old Dirty Bastard because there's no father to his guitar playing style.
Also, it's very cool that you got this T-shirt
Oh yeah. They
that
had-
makes you a cool guy. That you have to wear that to like one of our gigs.
Yeah, we'll hopefully in our next band photo or something I'll wear it. Yeah, because they had the 3 up there. They had the alternate cover or the Czechia version of Order and Punishment, and then From Higher Will. But I like this album the most.
Me too. Too.
But yeah, Fred, do you want to get into your track?
Yeah. Track 8, a.k.a. Svatoretchim.
I'm glad I'm not the only one messing this up. All right, so track 8, we'll be right back. God damn. We're back from the 8th track. Another wild ride.
Dan mentioned hearing like folky riffs in the writing here and there. I think the intro and outro on this one kind of confirms that they had that in their headspace when they were writing this. And it's kind of ironic, but this is kind of the most straightforward kind of thrash death track on this whole
and the whole album. Yeah, definitely.
But I like that. I like that aspect of it. The juxtaposition of these crazy medieval intro with a track that really doesn't sound medieval at all throughout its duration. But
yeah, you guys were hearing Atheist. I was hearing Meshuggah, especially in like the fucking the heaviest riff on the album. It's just so fucking good. And that blasting section towards the end was just like just going fucking off. It's crazy.
The very ending of the song was just such a bizarre way of finishing it.
Yeah, I love the way he draws out those chords.
Yeah.
So it's fucking it's beautiful, and then this throws you in the chaos, and it's like, all right, come out, it's time, your playtime's over, you can come out.
I know there's no connection whatsoever between the two, but the after the intro started going a little bit, it kind of reminded me of the Blaze Birth Hall instrumentals.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, but damn, what'd you think of that one?
I don't think either one influenced the other, but
It's there.
I think. Well, yeah, you guys pretty much nailed all the musical stuff. I think generally, we bring this point up a lot, that like new bands and bands that are like sort of recognized. A lot of them just, man, it's kind of crazy that nobody really pushes for anything outside. I mean, this band is old. This is from like over 20 years ago now. But I mean, like, look at the album art for this thing, and I feel like this is a band that kind of deserves album art like this, where you have like lyrics about depraved sex, and you kind of have the medieval thing going on, and you have this like weird racial thing going on, like somehow back there, and then plus all this weird like alien science stuff. I feel like this is a band that should be allowed to have all these topics kind of thrown into them, because the music allows that, and it's not even jamming genres together, because it's they've sort of done their own thing with each and every riff, where you can't say this sounds like this sounds like that. That's a point we bring up too, but I think that's what makes some of the best bands, is being able to just be a band on your own without being lumped into worship this, worship that. Yeah, they're part of the Czech kind of experimental death metal scene, I suppose, but all those bands are kind of, again, like on their own.
Yeah.
And I think it's just sort of fitting that their lyrics are crazy and their music is crazy. And it is just sort of... I mean, I'm sure there are newer bands out there that may or may not be, like, on this level, but probably not to this level, because this is just so advanced, I think. It's just hard to... It's hard to fathom that, like, people aren't trying, or, just... It's like, just try.
I think it'd be very much like Demilich, in that any band that tries to emulate it doesn't have the skills to do it, and bands that do have the skills to pull it off
are just gonna
would be going in their own direction.
Yeah,
they wouldn't
don't
need
sound
to.
like worship.
So,
yeah,
I don't think you'll ever hear a band that sounds exactly like these guys. Again, much in the same way we'd say that about Demilich.
Yeah, and to the point of the lyrics, that these ones are like, I guess more their like social commentary here. It says, like Cardinal Alpha, I will sanctify the vast floods that are driving my force of my mill. I wish this all for you from the bottom of my heart, for God's tears are everything to me. May the scabs of illusion fall off all of you, so wake up, you scoundrels.
Yeah, see, that's all. These are almost like appalling Spawn lyrics, but they're kind of berating you for not getting with the program, you know.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And it's kind of an interesting thing too. It's like these guys have strange artwork with like black people drawn in them in weird ways, like weird pornographic ways, and like the band talks about politics, but it's not exactly clear what side they're on. And I think that's an interesting point. You can, as a band, have politics as a lyrical theme without really without taking sides.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's not usually the case. When you see politics as like a lyrical theme, you assume like right-wing stuff is always going to be categorized as National Socialism, no matter what. And if you see the word politics, that means left-wing politics. Like, you kind of equate those things. In this case, it's kind of strange, just because they have like an album called Free Speech. You have the racial thing, and then you have like all this weird sex stuff. It's mysterious, I'll say that, and it's kind of baffling and confusing in a weird European way. And I think that's I like that idea of being confused by death metal.
Yeah, it's like
Death metal should be confusing.
It's more like a political and like social commentary than like
Then preaching at you in
Yeah.
a weird way. Yeah, I hate that.
yeah,
Yeah.
very, very, very great album. The rest of this one is just as fucked up as you heard these
okay.
two samples here. I wish I could play more, but I made these boys listen to another one.
That you
So
did.
we have to move on now, huh?
Yeah, so now we're getting into the final album at the time, where they disbanded due to being fucked by Elitist Records. And it's a goddamn shame, because this is one of my favorite albums of the millions that I have. And Dan, this is your album that you picked a sample from, because Fred called dibs.
So I'll say this, but I did not pick a sample. I listened to the album and I sort of wasn't paying attention to the track listings. So Paul can go ahead and pick two samples. Before we get into this, I had two points I wrote down so I didn't forget them. While we were on break, my parents were out, and they told me that my dad parked the car to like get something, and Dean shifted the car into drive, and they started rolling.
Oh my god.
And then I thought about it, and I said, "Don't you have to put your foot on the brake to shift the car?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, yeah." I'm like, Dean, yeah, you owe Dean an apology. He didn't do that.
Not into neutral, though.
I guess Dave just stopped the car and like got out. Yeah, Dean did not do that.
Did it put the car in neutral, or?
I have no idea. Maybe.
Because you don't need to,
Possibly
you don't
neutral.
Yeah,
you don't need to put your foot on the gas or the brake to move it into neutral.
True.
That's true. Maybe Dean did do it. Who knows?
I was gonna say, Dean could do no
Although-
wrong, but he did pee in the kitchen.
He
If it
peed
was-
in the kitchen.
Although if it was in park, you would have to put
Yeah, you would have to put your foot on the
you would
brake.
have to put the foot on the brake.
So the dog didn't do it.
If it was in drive, you could move it into neutral without putting the.
Yes. Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
If
I mean,
the car was in drive, this is a whole different problem.
I mean,
Yes.
Dean is a pretty smart boy. I mean, I think he can put two and two together to press the pedal and the. No, just kidding.
Right.
He's a smart dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Other thing that I wrote down. I wrote down rest in peace to George Lowe, who was the voice of Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Oh yeah.
He died.
Oh no way.
Yeah, I posted that. I don't think Fred saw it, but it was a clip you probably would have liked if he did see it. It was Mike Judge on Space Ghost, where he's just repeating, "It doesn't get any better than this," but he's doing it in all his voices, and his like face is sort of changing every voice he does. So it starts off with "Oh, I tell you what, it don't get any better than this," and then you hear Butthead, "It doesn't get any better than this." Well, you hear all of them, even the Coach Buzzcut. boy, it doesn't get any better than this. You know, he's always yelling.
Yep.
And then you get the principal. So yeah, rest in peace, George Lowe, and that was a funny clip of Mike Judge.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, so are we going to get into, I guess we'll have to get into a sample, right? I didn't pick one, so Paul can pick his 2 favorite songs.
All right. Let's see. The first song I ever heard from these guys was Absu Hassan. Or Abu Hassan.
Abu? That was the name of the monkey from Aladdin, I think. Abu?
Yes, it is.
So let's listen to that. The rest of these tracks are phenomenal, especially up to the 5th song. I'll just do that for nostalgic purposes, and we'll go with the 5th one. And I'll just say, if you thought that this last album was like manic and crazy, like it just goes to a completely other level here. I think the other musicians really, help paint the picture of a realized sound here, and I think you'll hear it, especially in this track. Vocals are a little bit more present here. I'll say on that last track that we heard, there's the last album and this band in particular, particularly this band is like really like have a lot of instrumental sections throughout their songs, and it just kind of has like the perfect place for vocals, and where they are also perfect, like just so you can focus and hear what the hell's going on in this whirlwind of music. And I think on this album the vocals are way more all over the place, and I think it helps with the chaos here.
This album sounds oriental to me.
Yeah, I can hear that.
I think I thought they were like Chinese when I first heard them.
This album is probably where they get their comparison mostly to Lacathea Flame. I can hear it there. I didn't hear it on the first album or these the earlier releases, but here I definitely hear it. And I think this is probably the one that most people have heard if they've heard it, heard of them. And I think everyone's like reviews on Metal Archives are like, oh man, what a way to go out, because they were writing them as the band, went on hiatus or quit during the time. And it is such a fucking great note to leave off on. But I'm glad they're still active and gonna be dropping an album this year apparently. So I'm excited to hear that. But let's get into the 5th track, Abu Hassan from Aladdin, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back from Abu Hassan, and my boys didn't like it.
I
No,
like the fact
I mean-
that some of the vocals are like, they remind me of Bethlehem a bit.
Yeah,
Kind of.
really belting it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the second track on this album. The vocals are absolutely off kilter. Like they're
Off the heezy,
Yeah, they're insane.
as Fred always says, off the heezy.
Yeah,
Fred
definitely in my lexicon.
Worm. Fred Worm, yo.
Yeah, no. What I was saying is I like the guitar tone in this.
It may
but
be
it's so
Fred,
much more,
but it's the worm, yo.
the guitar tone is so much more standard in this. Like on Pod, it's just it's such a weird guitar tone. It's so distinctive. This, I like the guitar tone. It's a nice thick sound, but it could be any number of bands.
Yeah, I think the main difference here is like this is played in such like a technical, tight manner, where Pod was way more loose. But
Pod was more frantic. This is like more structured in a very modern way.
yeah, and I think that's kind of why I brought up Necrophagus. Like this is like the evil demented twin that isn't playing the technical riffs, but they have like these just I guess tightness of that band, and I think the guitar tone sort of reminds me of that as well, and how tight the drumming is with it as well, and the bass playing here. Vocals are frantic. I love the lyrics for this track right now. It's very funny. It's like a ransom sort of thing. It says, I'll just read them all right now. You bastard, have your daughter pay up, and no tricks, let alone tricks. You screwed up on my word, Abu Hassan. Or your Lydia is a pretty girl. She sees my boyfriend every day, so don't screw it up, you scumbag, you asshole. Should I stretch her brown hair? Will I make you cry? Isn't that right, you rich squirrel, bourgeoisie hamster? You have
Hamster.
You have
You
two,
bourgeoisie hamster.
you have 2 days to do it, otherwise I'll put a stop to it. And you're writing that she'll suffer as I were Abu Hassan. I'll hang that little pig on hooks. My knuckles are sticking out.
Yeah, writing songs about kidnapping chicks is harking hilarious. It's funny.
Yeah, you can hear the fucking dementedness in the delivery in this track particularly.
You can hear the dementia.
Hamster.
Yeah. This is
Hamster.
yeah, first time I checked out this band, this was the song that came up and I was like, I'm not ready for this. Y'all ready for this? No.
Y'all ready for this? Wait, when I first discovered like death metal when I was in middle school, two of the besides Cannibal Corpse, two of the first bands that I listened to were, I think I told this about to the death metal guy or something recently. Yeah, Nile and Necrophagus. They were like two of the first bands that I heard, and I said the same thing to myself. Like, I'm not ready. I'll come back.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand it.
Yeah, I think this is just on a whole other level from those bands. So.
I feel like it.
But yeah, at the time
almost
I could
puts
see
itself,
that though.
Yeah, it almost this album almost like shows itself as like a modern oddity of like the mid 2000s metal scene, I suppose. For whatever reason, this reminds me of like Gatsu for some reason too. Maybe it's because like around the same time as when I discovered that band too, around 2010 or something.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna. I don't think you'll like this statement here, Paul. But I feel like this could appeal to new metal people from the same time, like when this comes out.
With the U.
Like
or?
I feel like fans of Soulfly could enjoy this album.
I don't know. I think it's so.
You know what I mean?
Maybe if the vocals.
Or do you think I'm wrong?
I think
I think
this
it's
is
too spastic for them.
Yeah, I think this is way
Maybe.
more off-putting for anyone. Like even regular metal listeners. I think people
For
will
whatever
put off to
reason,
this.
I feel like there's somewhat of a similarity between like certain weird like new metal bands. There's honestly like nothing that comes into my mind like in particular, but for whatever reason, I just have that feeling like it's that kind of album where it's kind of smack dab in the middle, where it could appeal to either, because it doesn't feel like a death metal album. I got to be honest, it doesn't really feel like what death metal is. It feels like something else on the outside, and not the way that the other album did. The other album is straight grinding madness.
Yeah.
This one is sort of
way more contained
and like, what would even the word be? Like actually avant-garde metal. Like if the other album is death grind, this is avant-garde metal.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah, it's a completely different.
The grind
side
element
of the
is kind
coin.
of gone at this point from this album.
Yeah,
for me.
they almost have like the cryptopsy, like just like skank beat over this more than blasting. The death grind element is definitely gone, because you would associate that more with like more unhinged, not so like technical death metal. It's more on the other side of the coin, and I that's why I wanted to pick both albums, because they are just so different from one another.
Yeah, and they come out pretty close to each other too.
Yeah, and
It's like the final incredible effort by TOOH.
yeah, and that was the first song I heard and wasn't ready, but now I am, and I love this song, this album. It's I couldn't
My
choose
town,
between the
Chi-town,
two.
Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, I couldn't choose between the two. But get my second pick.
Between the two.
My second pick is the last track, Kali. It just ends in such a, I don't know, just like majestic sort of way, almost otherworldly. Like the riffs are just like so too. But yeah, you guys want to get into that one?
Sure.
I have one last note that I remembered that I wanted to bring up before we start this. Regarding the thumbnails for these episodes, a lot of the time they're just things that I want to add in there, and we don't usually bring up everything that's on the thumbnails. So if you're wondering this week who that is from a movie called Terror Vision, which is like an 80s comedy horror, and that character is the dude from Napoleon Dynamite who plays Uncle Rico, and he's dressed like a metal guy with a Wasp t-shirt, and I'm pretty sure that's a wig, but yeah, that's who that is.
Yeah, I don't think we even see him until we're about to upload him anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's get
do it.
into the last track, Kali, and we'll be right back.
Nad třemi časy moc.
Lidská hnidomina povyšuje rozsetá jak prašivina. Transcendentální mocí bude spálena. Svý podlost, pochybnosti zális, kálí na ně mocí. Kálí na ně kálí. Kálí na ně kálí. Počkej na zem hovna, takém smrdělu popel kálí. Zrovna!
Paul's not here yet because he's drying his tears.
Down, down.
Yeah, I was telling the guys, I was like, I never cried to music, but that song is one that would get me close. Especially that, you know, obviously the ending riff, it's just so emotional just within those two, wow now, and then the solos right over it. It's just like so great, and I think the lyrics are sort of comparable to the ones I said from the last album, but I'll get to that after we hear what you guys think.
I just don't think everyone realizes how much Paul crying we have to edit out of every single episode. There's just so much of it.
Yeah, frustrating tears, but this one's actually joyous.
The guitar tone at the end part of this kind of harkens back to the last album we were listening to, Pod. They bring a bit more emotion back into it, as opposed to the kind of just overall thick sound it generally has throughout the album. The bass on that is just awesome. No, cool track. It's a nice way to end it. The ending riff that it fades out on is fantastic.
Yeah, it's my favorite in the album. And no vocals, just having the solos switch in between the guitars, the bass, and having those leads, and the whole riff itself is just like so fucking great. It just starts off with like this like like tremoloed, really heavy melodic, like low notes riff, and then it just comes out with the two really high notes. Dun, dun. I can't, yeah, I can't hum riffs for shit, but it's that one's always gonna stick with me. That's such a. This is why we're one of my favorite bands, and
Sometimes all it takes is a really great riff to make an album,
yeah, and
that's no shit.
yeah, this is. I got my boys back on my side with this one.
That's all it takes. All it takes is a really great riff to kind of bring it all back around, and we all give each other like a virtual hug or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a
Virtual fist bump.
Need my boy's shoulders for this one.
a virtual
Virtual shoulder.
worm wrangler.
But I'll say the lyrics right here. They're really good. Said naked and forearmed, she's a black hole of Kali. She's the cunt of the world. She burns more than the sun. Past, present, and future. Three eyes proclaim unlimited, above 3 times power. At the arrogant human filth scattered all over the world like scabies. By transcendental.
Scabies.
Oh, scabies. Yeah.
Scabbies.
By transcendental urine will be burned. Selfish, meanness, doubt, and envy. Kali urinates on them. Kali defecates on them. Shit rains down from space on the ground. With the cocoa of death, the mob turns to ashes. Kali will flatten that murderous scoundrel Kali. She rolls, he burns it.
See, I was right. This album does have something to do with Oriental teachings. If you consider that type of Hinduism, I think it's all in the same region. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, very, very, very good.
Yeah, I think that song. Or go ahead, Paul. You had a point.
I was gonna say, I think most people forget that some members of like Thea Flame and Upon Spawn were in fucking Cold of Fire too, which is like all about Hinduism and
I actually didn't know that.
shit like that. And then also, I guess there's guys from like Maniac Butcher and that band that you like, Stinny Plemnu, Fred.
Oh,
City Plemenu.
yeah. Stinny Plemini. Scritty Politi.
But yeah, it was Thomas from like Thea Flame drumming for them when they first started. But yeah, it seems like those guys were all into this sort of Eastern music and shit.
Yeah, that is interesting. It is a very Czech thing to be into that stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, just Kali itself is you know, from that as well. And yeah, fantastic album. Almost first song in particular really leaves me kind of speechless about it. It's like perfect. Like I can't listen to music for the rest of the day after that
That's
one.
it. Paul's done.
Sometimes when we do these episodes, like I end up listening to the album more that we just covered.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys ever do that, but I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
yeah, they're all worth coming back to. But yeah, what do you guys think of that song? Really moves me. But how do you guys feel about it?
I think I kind of already said what I thought of it. Dan, go for it.
This is unrelated, but this has to do with like bands talking about Hinduism and things. There, I don't know if you guys remember a Finnish band called Rahu. They were into that kind of shit. They were decent. What is that? 2012? Yeah, unrelated. Just wanted to bring up a band that I thought was cool.
Yeah, that album's good.
Yeah, I think the that track that we just listened to, it basically has the same idea throughout the whole thing that the final riff does, which is like kind of a mix between Discordance Axis and like Autumn Leaves or something, because it's got those heavy, sort of like slightly melodic deep notes mixed with the the discordance, like you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of an interesting thing. It's a very modern thing to do, but these guys sort of made it work. Just as again, kind of reinventing themselves from the last album. The last album was pretty great, but you know what's the use of doing the same album over again? Yeah, maybe I like the first album better, or that other album better, but that's not to say that this one doesn't have its place. It's an interesting follow up, and it's totally on its own. So. Yeah, these two albums are probably their best, and I knew we would get to them eventually. So, yeah, good on you, Paul, for finally getting to them.
Yeah, I had to do it.
Thanks for getting me to check them out.
Mm-hmm. Just keep saying the word "two."
I'm glad I checked them out too.
Or you could say "TOOH."
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Toe.
Every time you could just say the obliteration of humanity.
Yeah.
Long.
But yeah, I'm glad I finally got to them and was able to be in contact with the musicians themselves to get a better insight on it. And
Yeah, it's cool.
this is going to be a band I'm always going to be ready for now.
He's ready.
He's prepared.
Yeah. Final thoughts?
Band good.
Let's get some ratings for each album. Fred.
Oh, ratings. That's hard. I think I'd give Pod an 8 and Punishment, I don't know, 7.5.
It's pretty good. You glad you listen to him now?
Yeah, it's the it's those initial misconceptions about a band that just makes you think you're not gonna like them, and you eventually get around to listening to them and realizing that you're wrong. Like, it's just, I don't know, something about their name, the descriptions I'd read about them made me think, you know what, I don't think I'd hate them, but I probably wouldn't be a huge fan. No rush getting around to them. This is wrong. I thought this was fucking great.
That's why we do this.
Yeah, and it the usual Fred litmus test for an album. If I found a copy, would I pick it up? The answer is yes. So,
Yarp. That's where we clap, where Fred goes, the answer's yes. And then everybody clap.
go clap.
But Fred, has there been any albums that we've covered that you haven't seen but searched out for to pick up? Excrement, right? Or did you already have that?
No, he didn't have that.
I didn't have it, and I was looking for a copy after we talked about it.
I have to coax everyone into excrement. That's just how life goes.
It's the
phrase
shit.
it that way.
It's the shit, yo.
I'm gonna have to shove that shit in your face.
Any other ones that I've bought or looked for, at least? I think I've looked for a few, but Mental Home, actually. I would pick up a copy of Mental Home, and I've looked for a copy, but not that I haven't found it, but I haven't found it at a price that I'm willing to pay.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to find it at a record store, Dark Realm, so.
Nice. No, like the biggest issue for most of these albums is shipping, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to spend money on an album, but when the cost of shipping is the same price as the fucking album itself, I'm like, you know what? I'll just wait around a bit and see if I find it anywhere else.
Yeah. Dan, your ratings?
I don't know that I can give ratings, because if I just say 9 and 10, it's just like, I don't know.
That's
don't,
how the party works.
Is that do I have to? Fuck.
I think so.
Probably. I hate doing this just because it feels so like Forced. I don't know how to. The pod would get like. See, if I say 10, then that's just like a cop out. But I don't want to. It's pretty perfect. It's how about that? Pod is perfect. 2 is good, but lesser so than. Fine, 9 and 10. Or no, 10 and 9. There you go. I don't know, man.
No,
I hate rating albums.
it's
not good. They're both good. My final thoughts were band good.
Not good.
Yeah, it's not good. It's good.
all right. Well, me and Fred will stick to rating them then. Yeah, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Oh wow. Is that going to be like every album that we cover? 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
The
It's like,
ones
what's the point of 1 out of 10?
The ones that we pick, yeah.
No,
Ourselves.
but you know what though, Paul, you have to pick one that you like better over the other.
Man, they're so different though. That's like the
I
thing. They're
But they're still
I was able-
different. How
I was
did I even
able to do it.
choose?
Put your big boy pants on. Pick a favorite album.
Put your fucking diaper on and
shit.
in your pants. Yeah.
Diaper in your
I think I
pants.
like Order and Punishment better.
What?
All right.
I'll reverse it. So Pod
this-
is a 9.5 and Order and Punishment's a 10.
Yeah.
Okay, this episode's over.
This is yeah.
We're almost to 100, guys. Don't.
All right, everybody.
Take a break.
We'll see you on episode 100. It's coming up. Groiper Uprising, Babalooey. Bye.
Catch ya on the flip side.
You want to blizzum with my blip blop?